crazy. At least some people are able to laugh, as other people are just daunted, black-pilled, and doomer-pilled with everything that's going on here. As of course, we have a grand old conspiracy being exposed here, and it gets far more worse and sinister than a lot of people even want to admit. As now, there are specific files dealing with the time before, during, and after 9/11 that have been completely redacted by the DOJ here that announced no longer will we be releasing any files at all, as Brett Weinstein has a very interesting hypothesis of something that I've been talking about since 2004. Yep, I'm that old. I've been talking about the Epstein stuff for like 15 years. This 9/11 stuff I've been talking about since I was a young kid growing up in New York City that went through this particular event here. As now, a lot of people are connecting the dots on some big pieces that I think are absolutely worth connecting the dots on. There's also a lot of interesting things being said by Virginia Giuffre's lawyer, Sean Ryan, Roger Stone, that has been a big fighter against a lot of these big players for a very long time, as well as some interesting things surrounding Steve Bannon, as Roger Stone explained his beef with Steve Bannon, as we will be getting into all of that and a lot more on this independent media broadcast. If you appreciate our multi-decade, 21 plus years of working here for you as independent media, talking about some of the most wildest, craziest, most important facts that a lot of people try to censor that are extremely powerful away from the general public, subscribe. A lot of people are subscribing. It's awesome to see, and I can't thank you guys enough for this channel doing a lot better than it was doing just a few weeks ago. So, listen, this whole Epstein stuff, man, I mean, I've been, like, taking my calm. I've been meditating. I've been trying to just, like, deal with this, because it's heavy stuff, right? Especially knowing that there's a big criminal conspiracy going on, and the government's in on it. There's no other way to kind of highlight it, and there are multiple obfuscation efforts. There's multiple things that are just being totally eviscerated and destroyed when it comes to having a good discourse on it. As of course the discourse should be, listen, this is weird and we need to get to the bottom of this, and we can't just forget and move on. I'm sorry, that is not going to happen. Jack Posobiec said this is not going to happen. Joe Rogan, Tim Pool says there's no way you could be covering up the co-conspirators here and then expect no one to be just okay with that, as some of these predators are still out there. Now, there's a lot of disturbing footage. I'm not going to show you the footage. There's a lot of disturbing accounts that are far too egregious, far too disturbing to even talk about. Again, I try to make sure that we have a show here that a lot of people could watch here, but just trust me when I say this, the horrors that are being described out there, if you choose to see it, be prepared to be just viscerally shocked, right? And again, there's lots of like redactions, lots of weird stuff, and it's just the most sickening stuff here, as the vast majority of Americans are saying release the rest of the files, as there are estimates that only 2% of the data that the FBI and the federal authorities have was actually released here. 2%. The redactions before, during, and after 9/11 are the biggest ones that raise some serious concerns here about potential more wrongdoing of the federal government, as the CIA has a lot of their fingerprints and a lot of their actions that they've committed on 9/11 that are very worrisome, to say the least here. As of course, right now, other countries are taking it seriously, as at least 10 countries are launching investigations, probes, they're arresting people, they're breaking down doors and saying, we will now bring the people connected to all of this towards justice. As Mario Nafal writes, Epstein's reach was indeed worldwide. Years after his death, countries across Europe are still probing his connections. UK's Peter Mandelson is under investigation after files showed correspondence with Epstein post-2008 conviction. Prince Andrew is also being looked at for suspected misconduct, as there's Virginia Giuffre's lawyer who's coming out and saying, give him safe passage so he could testify. France's ex-cultural minister and his daughter are facing probes for financial links to Epstein. French authorities are investigating a diplomat accused of passing Epstein UN documents. Norway's foreign minister are under investigation. Ambassador Mona Joel stepped down after review of her links to Epstein. Polish Prime Minister has announced that he's launching a probe into potential Russian ties and links with potential hurting of Polish children, as of course it is also in the emails suggesting that there were Ukrainian children here that were hurt during all of this. Turkey is pressing the Justice Ministry to investigate potential victims, as Epstein also had connections to that country, as there are also alleged victims from Turkey, Ukraine, the Czech Republic, and Poland. As of course, Epstein had a particular type. The type was extremely young, which was disturbing. There's emails highlighting how he talked to a 14-year-old telling her, yeah, just tell everyone you're 22.
The first time I was raped, I was 6. The first time I was sold, I was 11. After that first experience of being sold, he kind of gave me a hug and he said, "You're gonna make me so much money." And I didn't know what that meant. I just kind of went back over to my grandparents' house. And then he invited me over a different day. They had a camera set up, and basically him and his friend essentially gang raped me for probably an hour and filmed the whole thing. And the fact that there is video out there somewhere of me and being raped, and I don't know how that's been cut and edited to look and appear a certain way. The thing that went through my mind was, are people going to see this? Is my family going to see this? And the people I care about the most, it always felt like a possibility in the back of my mind. Anytime I was over at that guy's house being raped, I could literally look out the window and see my grandmother's house and how close I was to being safe, and would always hope that somebody would come looking for me. And they just never did, because I don't think anyone fathoms something like that happening literally right next door or within your own family. Customer was brought into the room. I would be shown pornography, and being that young, I think it translated for me as an overall thing, as a woman, this is what men expect from you and this is what people want from you. That went on for about 2 or 3 years and just kind of ended because I hit puberty. And it was actually the last summer of it happening was the most violent because a lot of the men were a pedophile clientele. It was a whole nother level to experience rejection from people that were abusing me.
Files are gonna get released?
We hope soon. The FBI's been.
Okay.
So.
Any dates?
No, you know what it is? There's a thousand videos.
Yeah.
And it's all with little kids. So they have to go through every one.
So, look, James O'Keefe got that video, and he...
Files are gonna get released?
We hope soon. The FBI's been.
Okay.
So.
Any dates?
No, you know what it is? There's a thousand videos.
Yeah.
And it's all with little kids. So they have to go through every one.
So, look, James O'Keefe got that video, and he...
I think I just stumbled across one of the darkest things that we have seen with the Epstein files, and I have tried to stay away from the dark stuff, but I came across a photo someone shared claiming that this was one of the most haunting images to emerge from the files, where you have a plastic surgeon doing a surgery on Epstein's Manhattan dining room table, and they act like that was the worst part of this photo. And something, when I'm looking at it, stood out to me, and it was what this girl is wearing. The shirt she's wearing reminded me of another photo that most everyone has seen, and it's Prince Andrew over top of this body that seems to be fairly responsive, but almost looks like, maybe they passed out, maybe it was a party and they were drunk, or she was given something in her drink. Who knows the whole story here, but this picture went viral. And as I'm looking at it, looking for clues as to whether or not this is the same person, I found out that it actually is exactly the same person, and provably so. You just have to look at the details in the background. Look at the wall in the background of the photo, right here on the top left. You can see, I'm going to zoom in so you can see that right here. It's the exact same wall that you see with this surgeon. The claim is that this person was getting 35 stitches in their head from an ATV accident. 35 stitches. Surprised it wasn't 33. But 35 stitches in their head. from an ATV accident. So if that's the case, they're saying she was flown here from the Virgin Islands. Why is she laying on the floor with a man over top of her if she's either about to or just had this surgery? And this is a significant figure in the so-called royal family here. And we've said before, the royals are in charge of a lot of dark things. They're the ones who created the evolution lie, the old earth lie, eugenics, all these things that bank off of one another. These people are doing some dark things. They're the same types of powers and people worshiping the same powers of darkness that our Father has been wiping out for his children. And they're going to be wiped out again really soon. But I just wanted to share this because you can see proof, not only the wall here in the background. Look at this leopard print pillow, and now look at this leopard print couch right here, and other leopard print objects in the room. It's the same room Prince Andrew was in. I don't know if anyone's ever covered this because I've tried to stay away from looking into the Epstein stuff too much, but I just had to share this because it's dark. It shows you who they are, and when they're being arrested and it seems like things are being done, which, you know, Prince Andrew got arrested, it's not even for things like this. He was arrested because he was sharing financial information. That's what they're saying the reason was. And so these people do serve powers of darkness. They're in the same secret royal societies. Our Father tells us in Isaiah chapter 29, woe to them that take secret counsel. We know that it's dark things that they do. People like Benjamin Franklin, who we've said in those same types of societies, having bodies found under his house, in his garage, bodies of children, bodies of adults, different bodies found. They say it's because he just loved science and he approved of somebody he knew that was a friend to come in and bring bodies into his house and hide them. Yeah, sounds like a hero to me. And so these things are extremely dark. These are the ones who have been controlling our information. You have Robert Maxwell, father of Ghislaine Maxwell, being the co-owner of McGraw-Hill. Back when I started school, that's when that happened. And so you see so many dark things. Again, we've said this before, these people worship Baal. It's a type of Baal worship, and we're seeing them bombing Iran. Remember, Trump was wanting to rebuild the Triumphal Arch, the one that used to originally, that it's based on, connect to the Temple of Baal. And then you have the Iranians burning a statue of Baal on February 11th. And it's no coincidence that on February 28th, they were bombed. This was an act of war to them because that's who they serve at the highest of levels. These people still do. And we see what happens in the Bible to people who worship Baal. Our Father leaves his people, ones that are awake to this, the ones who know that this is not a true God. That's why our Father used Elijah to help carry out his justice of shutting up heaven so that it doesn't rain. They were sacrificing children for prosperity and all these different things. These unclean spirits can't shut up heaven. Our Father can. They were getting a judgment before they were put to the test. They had 450 prophets of Baal and 400 prophets of the groves going against Elijah and the creator of heaven and earth. And all of them together, even though he was outnumbered, they lost. He took them down and slew them. But before he did, when they were trying to summon their deity that they know likes sacrifice, they were cutting themselves, which would eventually be their own punishment. And so we're seeing this stuff be repeated now, and it is urgent that people wake up. It's like the mystery of iniquity, whatever was stopping people from seeing this lawlessness, has been removed. We hear about that in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, I believe, and we're seeing that now. And so we have to wake up to this stuff. It's dark. We don't need people going around and pointing all these little clues out for those who aren't looking into it. It's right in front of our faces. So I wanted to share this before, you know, all this stuff gets taken down, when they learn how to censor it even better with their AI that's already doing a good job of just putting out mindless content and filtering out the good stuff. And so I thank you guys for those of you who have been sharing this stuff, but I wanted to share this before, of course, it is completely hidden. These are the people we are up against, and the powers they serve have been deceiving mankind for generations. That's why we have this talks of Trump helping to be anointed to bring about Armageddon and people saying these things. If you don't read your Bibles, you won't understand why these people are doing what they're doing and how they really are playing a part into Armageddon, which we're told by John that it's the unclean spirits like frogs deceiving the kings of the earth to prepare people to battle against the Most High. Why would they be the good guys if it tells us the kings of the earth are being deceived? It doesn't say there's a good king that's out there fighting for his country and they help fight and win. No, the kings of the earth, plural, are the ones being deceived, and they're the ones helping prepare to battle against the Most High. They're going to lose, just like the prophets of Baal lost with Elijah. We're going to see that happen again very soon. And so be ready for that first resurrection, and get to know who the creator of heaven and earth is, and find out how much you've been lied to. There is so much they've lied about. It's not just evolution. It's lies that depend on other lies. Lies like what we live on, who you are, our true history. These people have controlled it long enough. Put your trust in the one who has never lied to his people. He has kept his word. His prophecies always come true. They're still coming true. And it's time that we step away and get to know him, who he really is, not who the world tells us he is, not what mainstream religion and Christianity says about him. Actually get to know him, and it will change your life. So that's all I wanted to share. I know this is darker than usual, but I wanted to share it because it's something that I feel is significant and will help wake a lot of people up to how dark these powers are.
You know they eat babies. That is not bullshit. It's true.
So it's not just the dogs and the cats, not just the pets.
It's not just the dogs and the cats. They're full-on vampires. And everybody still thinks I'm crazy, but I'm not crazy. They're full-on vampires. They love the taste of human flesh and they drink human blood. They do, Tucker. Stop staring at me like that.
You're freaking me out, man. Because
They
you
do.
spent your life in the entertainment business, so I think you have some authority on this.
So many kids that I was in mental institutions with over the years, they are all from those cults. And they've covered it all up. They covered it all up. And, you know, I just pray to God. I'm just going to pray to God that he opens everybody's eyes in this country. By the time we go in to vote for Trump, that he will open up everybody's eyes and they will stop pretending to be asleep. You know what they say? You can't wake people up that are pretending to be asleep, but I pray to God, please wake up even those who are pretending to be asleep with the irrefutable truth of what the worst people on this planet are really up to. They are really up to that. They're doing it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about elites eating babies. And we got some evidence from that, from the Epstein files, and also we got a video for you too, so stick with us.
Yeah, Roseanne, we're awake now. We're definitely awake. Guys, we would appreciate if you'd subscribe, if you'd like, and you'd share this out to everyone.
All right, let's go ahead and go to this email where Epstein is talking about it with someone else in a conversation in the email.
So this is Red Pill Bot on X. Jeffrey Epstein ran a black market for babies. The Epstein files reveal that a woman stated Epstein offered her money to birth babies for black market use. Subject: woman who accused John of God cult leader of SA mysteriously voted herself off the island at a Spanish home. And then it says, blank spoke of this going on at Zorro Ranch. She has said on record that Epstein offered her money to do this, to birth babies for black market use. Yeah, look at that. That's Zorro Ranch.
Now, Zorro Ranch, that's the ranch he owns in New Mexico, right?
Yeah, yep. And it looks like some of the most evil things in the world went on there.
Well, supposedly they have a warrant now to actually search that premises because they've never done it before, supposedly. Not only that, they're also going to be looking for bodies, supposedly.
That's exactly what I was going to say. What would I be interested in doing? Searching the entire house and running cadaver dogs over the property next to the property. You know what I mean? Like a good search, thorough search needs to be made.
Yeah, I agree. Now, we got the video we want to show you. It's from Asmongold talking about this and talking about the jerky and everything else. Let's go ahead and check out this video.
People going crazy think they found a code word for human meat? Wait, what? Hope you are feeling better. Did we analyze the jerky? Why didn't we get jerky this week? I also added more to the jerky and ginger lemongrass. Thank you so much. Super cool. Beef jerky, delicious. Jojo is here and we'll walk the jerky over to Jeffrey. We'll walk the jerky over to Jeffrey. Why would jerky walk around? Why would it do that? Delicious lunch, beef jerky.
Because it's not jerky.
Yeah, I mean, look at, you have to be absolutely ignorant to not realize the last thing they're talking about is beef jerky. That's not what they're referring to.
Well, I think Asmongold knows that. I think he's just asking questions to his chat because I think some people in his chat, if you see right down below us, don't believe it.
Well, you know, I mean, that's a pretty common theme. None of us believed any of this, and now that it's in our face, and you know, you can't deny it.
Turkey. Steve and I are very grateful above all for your friendship. Some of these emails are so wholesome, aren't they? It's too bad they eat kids. A small insulated bag would be fine. I don't recommend checking it. No need for crazy amounts of ice. One should do. There is one bag of beef jerky in the fridge. Please get it. Also, Blank has more at her place.
That's more evidence. You don't freeze or put beef jerky in a fridge.
Right. The ice cube. Look at the ice tells you that it's raw meat. Whatever it is, it's raw and it needs to be kept cold.
Please get it from her as well. I suppose it needs to be in a cold, insulated bag. Just wanted to touch base about jerky. J.E. said he was going to start eating regular food again, so he might be eating less jerky. He said he has 6 bags of it in a downstairs freezer. Why would you freeze jerky? Steve needs a 6 to 8 ounce portion of jerky. I gave you all the jerky we had, and it lasted only half the amount of time it was meant to. I felt like it was more important for you to have the jerky to eat during my time off. My plan is to make a batch before I leave for LSJ, and some of that.
You know what's crazy to me? I was watching an episode of Real Time, and Laura Boebert was on there, and she was talking about this with Bill Maher, and Bill Maher didn't believe it. He doesn't believe this. He believes that they're just talking about jerky. He said, and I'm like this. They don't put jerky in a fridge. You don't put jerky in a freezer. You put jerky in a bag in your damn closet or something like that, or a pantry. You know, you don't do that. It's just, I don't know. The guy, you know, sometimes I think he's got it, and sometimes I'm like this. All right, he's just an idiot.
Yeah, you know, in this circumstance, you know, Bill's worldview doesn't even allow him to consider this. It's like when you reject a thing before you've analyzed it or really looked at it. That's what he's doing. Condemnation before examination. And we were all doing that because it sounds so crazy. And here you can see it's true.
That will go to Steve, and the rest will go to you at LSJ when I arrive. Little St. James Island. And that's what LSJ must mean. So logically, that means that they were doing this off of the island. Steve Hansen is sending jerky to your attention overnight. I believe it should be enough to get him through. Jeffrey Epstein is asking.
And it looks like where they were doing it at was in New Mexico on that Zorro Ranch.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
to bring him more jerky. I'm flying in on Friday. I will bring jerky. Is there a time I could come say hi and drop off the beef jerky? And that's from Jeffrey Epstein. Francis has time to come tomorrow. Show me how to make it. Jerky class anyone. He will bring you to taste his new jerky recipe from the restaurant. He sends a warm hello. He's working at a restaurant called guys, the restaurant's called Cannibal and Cooks. Wait for it. Beef jerky and steak. Can blank make some jerky? I think we should landscape all around the house to use the water if possible. If the main house is not enough. Are there any recorded images of Jeffrey Epstein with beef jerky at all? No, there are no recorded or publicly known images of Jeffrey Epstein with beef jerky. Who sends beef jerky to a lab for analysis? Wait, what? I was looking for the beef jerky as I knew it was in my suitcase, and I thought that maybe I left it on the beach, only to find a small plastic bag near my dog's bed. I'll email Francis to make us some more, as I need 6 to 8 ounces to send to the lab, and I'll forward to Francis the info to send to the lab directly. Guys, I think something's going on. What's this here? Commercial. Apparently it's his last girlfriend who's active on Twitter right now. Check the mail. Names for hers again. Oh boy, oh boy. People are saying this is Jeffrey Epstein's last girlfriend. And this is the same name as inside of the files. And her name change hasn't occurred since 2017, before the files released. After years of silence, the truth. Jeffrey was innocent. I really? Like, he just a good boy? He didn't do nothing wrong? Trapped by powerful people who silenced him. I was his last confidant, and I have the evidence that they're still hiding. I'm not suicidal, just in case. You'll know the whole truth soon. They sacrificed children to Lucifer. It's an entire cult. Jeffrey got involved in their operation for financial reasons and to obtain Combraprot, but never participated in the rituals. Oh, what is this here? I'll pull this one up and see it. That's crazy. She cooked.
Well, obviously she's wrong, because he's talking about jerky the whole damn time, and about getting jerky from his place in New Mexico to the island.
Yeah, and compromise is obviously blackmail.
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't, your dog doesn't. He used the "my dog ate my jerky" excuse, like, and then he pointed out, like, that it was funny. It's so crazy, because we know it's some kind of meat that needs to be kept cold that they're eating. So after seeing all of this, I don't know how you can escape believing that it's babies
Or children, or just human beings.
Right.
In the brain, maybe. She ate the brain? Yeah, maybe she did. Wire transfer request form. A 65-gallon... Guys, 655-gallon sulfuric acid with fuel and insurance charge? They are dissolving bodies.
I thought this was all nonsense talk. Even when I saw the Tucker Carlson interview with Roseanne when it first came out, I thought she was, hardcore. Then I started to look into a little bit, and these satanic cults are real, and there's a heck of a lot more people involved in it than you would think. They definitely do sacrifices of animals and people. I wasn't aware that they consume flesh, but I mean, I guess it makes sense when you look at it from the perspective of a satanic cult doing this. And I mean, here's his last girlfriend talking about how they're a satanic cult, that they're Luciferians. And, this is just as evil and as wicked as humanity can possibly be.
Yeah, I didn't believe it either. And in some cases, I still don't believe it. It's weird. It's just really weird. But the thing is, we know elites, whether they're in Hollywood or you're in politics, they have a lot of money, oligarchs, so on and so forth. These people are pretty deranged people, and they get involved in all sorts of stuff. And let's just say we shouldn't be surprised by it. But guys, we're going to have to end the show. We really appreciate it. Please hit that like button, comment, and shared us out to everybody.
Thanks for being here.
It's a good fucking pizza.
So they were always trying to call for pizzas?
The Pizza Underground.
I am inviting you all to a pizza party tonight at Jennifer Aniston's house.
There's no pizza we didn't love. I want you on my team. She does have good parties, and she makes good pizza as well.
She makes great pizza,
Wonderful pizza.
Ces fichiers ne révèlent rien, ils se moquent de vous, parce qu'ils vous ont jamais rien caché, mais vous avez pris ça pour du divertissement. Vous avez ri à leurs blagues, et trouvé ça avant-gardiste. Vous avez chanté leurs chansons et financé leur système. Ils vous ont habitué à l'inacceptable par l'humour. Mais tout ça, c'était un processus de normalisation, de consentement implicite. Parce que le message était là, devant vos yeux. Dans les séries, les pochettes d'albums, les dessins animés saturés de codes sexuels. Les hashtags Yumi sur le profil de Justin Bieber. Les publicités McDonald's. Le cannibalisme, les transfusions de sang, les costumes de rituel. Tout vous a été révélé depuis longtemps, mais seuls les gens lucides ont vu le programme.
Are millions of Epstein files still classified? Why do you think that is?
I have no idea. I haven't kept up with that. I've never met the man. I don't know him.
You haven't kept up with the Epstein disclosure?
I mean, only from a distance. I'm 6,000 miles away from D.C. these days, and I'm pretty sure that there's so much going on.
The current president of Israel, current president, who I know you know, President Herzog,
know him very well,
apparently was at Pedo Island. That's what it says in the disclosures. And of course, we know that the former prime minister, Ehud Barak, was living on and off at Epstein's house. So still living high-level Israeli officials are directly implicated in Epstein's life, if not his crime. So I would think that you'd be following this.
Only I was not aware that there was any connection with President Herzog. I would be surprised to hear that, and I knew there was about the former prime minister, who apparently had a lot of dealings with Epstein.
Business dealings, and by the way, I'm not alleging anything, but I mean, it's in the Epstein files, and I don't know that I've heard the current president of Israel respond to it, but he is listed as a visitor to Pedo Island, so that's kind of a big deal. I wonder, considering there are so many suggestions in the files, as I'm sure you know, of sexual abuse, and given that Jeffrey Epstein was a convicted sex offender, I wonder why the administration you work for would be holding millions of files, which I believe belong to the public, hidden for, quote, national security reasons. What would those national security reasons be, do you think?
Honestly, I think you've probably got more access to the White House sometimes than I do. You should ask them.
Well, but you're the government official representing that White House.
In Israel. And I represent the U.S. in Israel to the Israeli government from the U.S. government. But honestly, nobody has presented that to us.
Well, now that you know that
we have a pretty dynamic situation here. I don't know if you know that or not, but there's a lot going on in this part of the world. And frankly, that has not been top line item.
But you're surprised to hear that the current president of Israel, whom you know, is listed as a visitor to Pedo Island.
Had never heard that. Never heard it even in the Israeli press.
Are you going to ask him next time you see him?
I'll be happy to. Talk to him almost every week.
Not releasing the Epstein files. Fuck Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't care what you do. Start a fucking war. Just don't let him get out. If I go down, I will bring all of you. Not releasing the Epstein files. Fuck Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't care what you do. Start a fucking war. Just don't let him get out. If I go down, I will bring all of you down.
We are not winning this war in Iran. We went in guns blazing without a plan, and Iranian leadership was ready for us. And they are currently destroying American military bases across the Middle East at such an incredible scale that I don't think we understand the magnitude of the loss. The American military bases in Bahrain and Kuwait and Qatar and Saudi Arabia are among the largest military facilities in the world. These bases have cost us trillions of dollars over multiple decades to build. It has been a huge amount of our military spending over 30 years, and it's just going up in smoke. We've lost radars that cost hundreds of millions of dollars, including one Iran took out that was $1 billion at the most fortified U.S. base in the Middle East with a single missile. A radar that was the backbone of all of our missile defense systems in the Gulf. It's really bad. I'm not sure our military has ever suffered this kind of destruction, but we've also never had such unprepared, unserious, piss-poor leadership before either. The new statistic is this war is costing us $1 billion a day. That's about $42 million an hour, $11,000 a second. And while this administration is telling us we are kicking ass and they're putting out their high-end America fuck yeah propaganda, in the background, they are summoning defense firms to the White House for emergency meetings and asking for more money for the Department of War. After getting an extra $120 billion a year from the big beautiful bill, these people are already asking for another $50 billion. Our military budget is already $1 trillion a year. Where is this money going? Right down the toilet. That's where. Did you vote for this? Do you want this? Or do you maybe want, like, I don't know, a living wage and healthcare and to be able to afford a home in a safe and secure nation? We're not winning. The US and Israel have powerful bombs that can blow up buildings. But as we know now, most of Iran's military infrastructure and weapons are deep underground where we can't get at them. And it appears that Russia and China are sitting on the sidelines just feeding top-tier satellite intelligence directly to the Iranian government and just tracking our every move. We've started something we have no chance of finishing. We don't have an unlimited supply or an infinite arsenal. We don't even seem to have a goal. The question is, how long do we do this? How much of our resources are we going to spend? And do we plan to add our children's lives to the mix? When asked if we could expect violence on our own shores from this, Trump was like, well, maybe. I mean, it's war. That happens. Come on. This war was unnecessary and ill-planned and will not make our country or the world more safe and prosperous. We are not winning. All we are doing is bankrupting ourselves while we create even more enemies and ruin our position in the world. You want to talk about waste, fraud, and abuse? Well, here it is.
Because I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath. And this is all on videotape. You said there's no evidence of a crime. I'm showing you, here is a witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center. He drove Donald Trump around in a limo. He overheard what Donald Trump said to Jeffrey on his cell phone. He was so angry, he was gonna stop the limo and hurt Donald Trump. And he met a girl who said she was raped by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. She later had her head blown off, and officers at the scene said that could not have been suicide. No one at the Department of Justice interviewed this witness. You need to interview this witness immediately. Epstein should rot in hell, so should the men who patronized his operation. And as we sit here today, there are over 1,000 sex trafficking victims, and you have not held a single man accountable. Shame on you. If you had any decency, you would resign right after this hearing concludes.
The gentleman has expired.
May I respond?
Yeah, I don't know how you respond. No one can.
I did not ask a question, Ms.
He
You're allowed to.
I did not ask a question. Crime in California. He does not want to talk about.
I did not ask a question.
Crime in his state.
She can't just add lip stuff. I did not ask a question.
Meeting will be in order. The gentleman has yielded back his time. I think our next witness will be more than happy to let the Attorney General.
Madam Attorney General, would you like?
Breaking news after President Donald Trump urged the House to vote to release the Epstein files, the House voted to release the Epstein files almost unanimously. The vote was 427 to 1. This is the one. Clay Higgins from Louisiana. Absolutely no idea why Clay Higgins from Louisiana voted not to release the Epstein files, but he's got great hair. Before the vote, of course, there were lots of speeches. Everybody got a chance to say their piece. And Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, said, look, I'm begrudgingly going to vote to release these files because it's going to be a unanimous vote. We all know it will, but there needs to be some language changed in the Senate. And he pushed that off to the Senate, which now has to vote to release the files. And then it has to get a signature from President Donald Trump. President Donald Trump has already said, yeah, he'll sign it because he's ready to move on. He believes that the Epstein files are a distraction, a hoax, if you will, and they're designed to keep people from talking about all of the great things he's accomplished since he came back from office and all of the great things the Republicans have done before the 2026 midterms. Needless to say, I don't believe that Congress releasing the Epstein files is going to answer any questions. It's probably just going to create like a bajillion more questions. What do you think?
Transparency is justice. Release the files, end the secrecy, and stand with us in declaring that no one, no billionaires, no politicians, not world leaders, is above the law. And let me announce now, several of us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list of names. We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know were regularly in the Epstein world. And it will be done by survivors and for survivors. No one else is involved. Stay tuned for more details on that. Because history is watching, and so are the women who will come after us. Thank you.
Excuse me, can I interrupt?
I have
There
another.
are photos that are being released of the secretary as she is testifying from inside this room. Can you please advise me as to whether or not that's permissible and consistent with the rules, particularly given that we have asked for a public hearing? If there are photos that are being released of the secretary as she is testifying, can you please explain how that
I'm
can
done
occur?
with this. If you guys are doing that, I am done. You can hold me in contempt from now until the cows come home. This is just typical behavior.
We will go off the record.
Oh, for heaven's
So I would like
sakes.
to understand how that's permissible.
It doesn't
Excuse
matter.
me.
We all are abiding by the same rules.
I will take that down.
Yeah,
So
well.
I would like to take a break at this moment.
Yeah,
and we'd like to have
I'm
a
done
conversation.
for now.
Go off the record. Go off the record.
What was your reaction when you saw some of the material that has been released? I'm thinking, for example, of images of your husband apparently in a hot tub in a swimming pool on Epstein's plane. What was your reaction to that? And do you know the context surrounding some of those images?
Absolutely. And it wasn't a hot tub on a plane. It was one of the stops they made to look at philanthropic and charitable work that my husband has done, saving literally millions of lives around the world. It turned out that was done long before there was any public awareness and certainly any conviction of any crime by Jeffrey Epstein. So it was a short period of time that was in pursuit of charitable philanthropic work. A lot of people were traveling at the same time. Many staff members, guests, other supporters of the foundation. If Bill and I had a penny for every person we've taken pictures with, we would be extremely rich today.
Yeah, I'm really sorry, Professor. I'm so sorry I didn't turn in that activity. I know it was really important that I learn about Punnett squares, and I'm sure it was really informational, and I would love to get that done. But unfortunately, we all just learned as a species that every single important person in the last 50 years or so is a cannibalistic pedophile. Do you hear what the f I just said? Did that register at all? All of your celebrities, all of your politicians, all of your multi-million and billionaires, they're and eating kids. They're eating kids. They're eating kids. They're eating kids. How the is nobody upset? They're eating children. Not just Weird Dan down the street. The president. Several presidents. Not just of this country, of others. They are kidnapping. They are systemically selling children into slavery and then cannibalizing them.
They showed you in this music video they were eating kids long ago.
All in all, you're just another brick in the wall.
If you don't eat your meat, you can't have any pudding. How can you have any pudding if you don't eat your meat? Yes, you laddie! Poems, everybody! The laddie reckons himself a poem.
I thought this song was like about them talking about school, but no, it's talking about adrenochrome. That's why the kids have the weird faces, because they'll peel off the face of the kid and wear it and then scare the kid with their own face to suck adrenochrome. Listen, everyone thought I was crazy 10, 15 years ago when I talked about this stuff, but they had it in music videos right in front of your face, but we're too stupid to acknowledge the reality of what is right in front of us. It takes the Epstein files for people really to go, oh, I guess they are killing kids. Oh, I guess they are drinking blood. Oh, and all these people are still in office. All these people are still in power. When are we going to stand up and fight? There's little kids. Listen, if anybody deserves hell, it's the people doing these things to these kids. It's horrific, it's nasty, and I promise you there's a special place in hell for every person sucking adrenochrome out of these kids, abusing these kids, putting these kids in grinders and eating them. You think it's a joke? They clearly showed you in the music video. They show you right in front of your face, and people still don't believe it. Wake up to the truth.
With the backdrop of the infamous Zorro Ranch, hundreds came out Sunday to demand answers for the crimes they say occurred when Jeffrey Epstein owned the property. No charges were filed against him in New Mexico, but victims, their families, and those who believe them say the ranch was a house of horrors. And it's up to New Mexico to uncover the truth.
And I can feel her. She's here. She's with us. She's been with us every step of the way.
For the first time, Sky Roberts and his family came to San Rafael Ranch, formerly known as Zorro Ranch, the place his sister, Virginia Giuffre, said she was sexually abused.
Virginia was one of the most prominent and outspoken survivors of Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and other perpetrators out there that are still walking free today.
Sunday, they were joined by hundreds who want the same thing, justice for Virginia and the countless other victims they believe were abused at the ranch.
The world needs to see this. It's uncomfortable, it hurts, it's painful, but we can't move on from this.
On January 30th, 2026, the U.S. Department of Justice released a massive tranche of files related to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Among thousands of documents, several files shed light on the ties between Jeffrey Epstein and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. On January 3rd, 2010, Yehor Skaliha, at the time the owner of the Ukraine-based casting agency Centrocast, wrote an email to Epstein describing a 13-year-old girl with an acting background. Epstein replied asking the girl's location, To which Skaliha replied that the girl is in Mariupol, Ukraine, and that she has a Schengen visa and is free to travel any day. 2 weeks later, Sofia Jelenkova, a 13-year-old Ukrainian girl, went missing in Mariupol. The Ukrainian media describe her exactly as the person Skaliha told Epstein about: 173 centimeters tall, medium build, waist-length light brown hair. She was never found. It's highly likely that Sofia was trafficked to the US and is actually the person in the pictures with Prince Andrew. The timing of her disappearance matches Prince Andrew's last official meeting with Epstein in December 2010 in New York City. The surroundings in the pictures match the interior of Epstein's mansion. In another email from Skaliha, dated January 11, 2011, he wrote, "Too bad the prince did our little actress dirty." It's not quite clear what Skaliha means, but in another file, a different girl is mentioned who was sold for sex and torture. And the email mentions that Prince Andrew was an accessory to her death. In 2009, a year before Sofia went missing, Skaliha, the owner of Centrocast, was hired by Kvartel95. Skaliha mentions it in one of his letters to Epstein, writing that he's working for a promising production company in Ukraine run by a Jewish guy who's into acting and screenwriting. "He's a big fan of yours and wants to help," Skaliha writes. The Jewish guy is Volodymyr Zelensky, who at the time was a rising star of the Ukrainian film industry, with Centrocast looking for extras for his movies. It's unclear if Zelensky ever met Epstein in person, but he surely kept Skaliha close. In 2023, Centrocast was renamed to Firepoint, and the company started producing Flamingo missiles. Skaliha went from being Zelensky's employee who supplied Epstein with underage girls to owning the largest missile-producing company in Ukraine.
Jeffrey Epstein was inviting people to dinner with him in Buckingham Palace. He had the run of the Queen's Airfield, had the run of the royal palaces, was able to bring in Harvey Weinstein, God help the daughters, the debutantes that were at that dinner. Epstein has destroyed the British royal family. It'll be the end if King Charles, God bless his cotton socks, were to snuff it right now. It would be the end of the British monarchy after 1,000 years or so. It's also true, and now undeniable, that Epstein had the run of Downing Street as well as Buckingham Palace. He met Tony Blair in Downing Street. Why? Why did the British Prime Minister find time to entertain a real estate guy from New York? What was special about Jeffrey Epstein, who only a few years earlier had been working in London in the office of Robert Maxwell, the greatest thief of the 20th century in Britain?
You are not going to cut my movie. I've got a contract that says you can't cut my stuff. When he showed Eyes Wide Shut to the Warner Brothers executives, Stanley died 6 days later. Eyes Wide Shut was an expose of the Epstein-style cults. Stanley showed a different version of the film. They didn't like it. They threatened him. He really tried to expose the pedophile cult.
There's that rumor that he had spliced footage into Eyes Wide Shut of real rituals, of real sacrifices. It's almost like he was a part of what would be a real ritualistic cult that he's trying to expose. He knew about it and he was there, and he may have even filmed it. And that's where he got the footage, and that's the footage that he was going to splice into the movie.
You know, in 1972, at the same house that he filmed the orgy, the Rothschild house, there was this masked ball. We know it. There's pictures of it. People with masks, it was just like Eyes Wide Shut.
Everyone talks about Epstein's Island, but that wasn't the first. Decades earlier, there was another one, and it was right here in the United States. North Forks Island, Lake Michigan, mid-1970s. On paper, it was a children's charity, a summer camp for boys where they were exposed to nature, discipline, outdoor skills. It was run by Brother Paul's Children's Mission, but that story collapsed fast. Police uncovered that the boys were being brought to the island not for camping, but to be sexually abused, photographed, and recorded. This wasn't a camp. It was a production site. Now, this wasn't random. The island was isolated, controlled, and it had something most camps don't, a private airstrip, where children could be flown in and out, without ferries, without witnesses, without questions. One man directly tied to the operation was Gerald Richards, a former school teacher. He was arrested and later convicted and given a reduced sentence for cooperation. The island itself was owned by Francis Sheldon, a wealthy Michigander. But before he ever faced trial, he left the United States. He fled to Europe and was never tried in this case. This didn't stop at local police. A U.S. Senate investigation described North Fox Island as part of a multi-state network operating across states such as Michigan, New Jersey, and Illinois. None of this is rumor, it's congressional record. Now, what was never proven publicly was just how far the network went, or who else might have been involved. No verified client list was ever released.
Epstein wasn't an anomaly. The system protects specific people from specific accusations. When witnesses testify under oath and nothing happens, that's not broken justice. That's selective enforcement.
Ho, ho! These pedophiles have got to go! Ho, ho! Ho, ho! These pedophiles have to go! Ho, ho! These pedophiles have to go!
I expected a lot of interesting questions today, but Pizzagate was not on my list.
It's okay, we're asking all sorts of things here.
You certainly are. You certainly are.
We're just trying to get the truth out to the American people.
Well, that would
and
be
get some clarity.
very helpful. And if the platforms, whether it's Facebook or Twitter X or Instagram or TikTok, whatever they are, if they don't moderate and monitor the content, we lose total control. We lose total control. And it's not just the social and psychological effects, it's real harm.
New Mexico's Zorro Ranch is a place where multiple crimes were reported both to federal authorities as well as state and local authorities. In fact, there are records dating back to the mid-1990s of abuse happening at the ranch, including a report to the FBI in 1996 by a survivor.
One of the biggest parts of the Epstein cover-up is that Zorro Ranch, a 10,000-acre ranch owned for decades by Jeffrey Epstein, was never searched by the FBI. Now, the Attorney General years ago in New Mexico tried to investigate. He got blocked. But now today they raided it. They are there with dozens of investigators, state investigators, FBI, you name it. Here's the headline on Infowars.com. House of Horrors, cops search Epstein's Zorro Ranch for strangled girls, human experimentation. And they get into the reports by dozens of survivors that don't even know each other about medical experiments, their eggs being harvested, underground facilities. There's snorkels all over the place. I mean, there is underground facilities. This is a big deal. This article from Zero Hedges on Infowars.com is extremely powerful. Everyone's focusing on Epstein Island. There is so much more dirt at Zorro Ranch. This is a very important story at ZeroHedge.com and Infowars.com. Go check it out for yourself right now. And all the bizarre calendars with naked babies on them, you know, all of the crazy stuff going on there. But the most dark part of it is the medical experimentation and the eugenics going on that I was first to report on many, many years ago, now coming out. So the good news is this information is coming out. The bad news is this has been covered up at a bipartisan level for decades, but now the chickens are coming home to roost. We already knew what Epstein was up to because any of these eugenics devil operatives, when you study them, not just Epstein, but Peter Nygaard, many others, are obsessed with life extension technology, cloning, human engineering, eugenics. And now this information is hitting the public. So I believe from what we're seeing is this investigation was forced by the state, that it's a real investigation. And I believe we're about to see even more shocking revelations come out because we know they're holding back a lot of the files, but what we have is so incredible. Can you imagine what's being covered up in the files? We'll continue to track this right here at InfoWars and right here at Real Alex Shows on X and Rumble, the Alex Shows show. Be sure and follow us there, and we will cover the information no matter how dangerous it is. The deep state is targeting us, and it's been coming after us for decades, but really came after us in 2016 when we just covered the WikiLeaks. that show John Podesta having 7-year-old children delivered to, quote, entertain him in hot tubs, and Aleister Crowley rituals, and so much more, and all that same crap. And many of the same players are on the emails that have now come out with Jeffrey Epstein. Yes, the globalists really do eat babies. They really are Satanists. The devil is real, but so is God. God bless you all. Get this information out because you are the Paul Reveres, you are the resistance, and you are what overcomes the AI censors. You are what magnifies this information. You are the soldiers of the information war, and I thank you all for your support. God bless you.
Well, I am coming to you from New Mexico with a breaking update in the Epstein investigation, and that is today, New Mexico's Department of Justice has begun its on-site investigation of Zorro Ranch. This investigation is crucial as a part of our larger investigation into the crimes that happened by Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and his associates here in New Mexico, as part of New Mexico's investigation through our state Department of Justice and our newly passed bipartisan Truth Commission. Now, one of the things that's important to know is that New Mexico's Zorro Ranch is a place where multiple crimes were reported both to federal authorities as well as state and local authorities. In fact, there are records dating back to the mid-1990s of abuse happening at the ranch, including a report to the FBI in 1996 by a survivor and multiple other reports over the years. And one of the significant and important pieces of this case is to understand why justice was never pursued at the state, local, or federal level. So this investigation is a crucial piece of trying to understand what happened at the ranch, to look for potential crimes that may have occurred on the ranch property, especially because after Jeffrey Epstein was arrested in 2019 and other properties were searched, Zorro Ranch was never properly searched, and because it is a crucial piece in getting to the bottom of truth and accountability here in our state, to hold those who are still able to be held accountable to the law, as well as seeking justice and healing for survivors here in our state. So we are so grateful for the work that the New Mexico Department of Justice is doing. We are so grateful for our state legislative leaders like State House Representative Andrea Romero and State House Representative Mariana Anaya, who are leading on our Truth Commission. And we are so grateful to all of the survivors and our community who has shown up, especially over the last several weeks, to show support for survivors. And I want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you to everyone, all of the hundreds of New Mexicans who showed up yesterday to show their support for the survivors, to march and to stand in solidarity at Zorro Ranch yesterday. I had the opportunity to meet with survivors afterwards, and I want to share with you that what they shared with us is that they felt like New Mexico was home and had welcomed them. So thank you to all of our New Mexicans out there who are leading the way, who are leading with your hearts, and who are seeking truth, justice, and accountability, because that is what this case is all about.
So, CIA declassified documents last week, Operation Artichoke to poison vaccines, food supply, and the water to dumb us down and make us controllable. Now new documents about ESP control, how we're really electrochemical systems, liquid crystals, and the pineal gland, and how most people have microscopic to actual large worm infestations, not just from cats, you name it, like Kennedy has one in his brain, and they didn't tell the public most cancer, breast cancer, brain cancer is worms. Ladies and gentlemen, you can look it up, go to the UN's own website, they admit it. Over 2 billion people have cognitive disabilities because they do not have enough iodine. In the 20s, they found this, how they put in the salt, IQs went up about 20 points on average, 15, 20 points. Well, we have the very best atomic iodine in the world, has been available in several years, ladies and gentlemen. But we have the original X2 back, but even stronger, pure atomic. Atomic isn't radioactive. It means it's on the periodic table. It is absolutely pure. And I mixed that with ultra methylene blue that is also on record good for your pineal gland and reversing the calcification, the rest of it. Well, we've got the best methylene blue, and I just mixed the iodine with the methylene blue with this water. I'm going to drink this, and this is pure rocket fuel. So good for your body. Essential iodine with methylene blue together is amazing. Pretty scary looking, too. So, by the way, the new product exclusively available right now at thealexstone.com, is T3. It's X2 back even better at thealexstone.com. So for all the fans that wanted it, everybody that wanted to get it, we have had it for over a year. It is back, reborn, like the Phoenix, even stronger, exclusively available through our sponsor, thealexstone.com. But regardless, our methylene blue, our iodine is the best, and it does so many other things: libido, stamina, energy, and they go together like a horse and carriage. Get them both now. There's also another big sale as well at thealexstone.com, and I thank you for your support.
Did you read those new files that were published by the Department of Justice?
I have a lot of things I'm doing, and a lot of things I'm doing. I don't know. You mentioned 2 names. I'm sure they're fine. I'm sure they're fine. Otherwise, it would have been major headlines. I think it's really time for the country to get onto something else. Now that nothing came out about me, other than it was a conspiracy against me, literally, by Epstein and other people.
So this is an email from Howard Lutnick to Jeffrey Epstein. Hi, Jeff. We are landing in St. Thomas early Saturday afternoon and planning to head over to St. Bart/Anguilla on Monday at some point. Where are you located? As in, what is the exact location for my captain? Does Sunday evening for dinner sound good? I have another couple, Michael and Mary Lerman, with me on my boat. This is the wildest part. Whoa. Right, and each of us has 4 children. Doesn't list their names. I want to point that out. He says 2 16s, 2 14s, a 13, a 12, an 11, and a 7-year-old. I remind you, this is 4 years after Jeffrey Epstein was convicted. How this guy has a job today is a disgrace. There is no room.
That's disgusting.
For nuance here.
No, that is disgusting.
Fired! Fired! I'm done with these fucking people. What is your excuse? He's a liar, advising the President of the United States every fucking day.
First of all, Mr. Khan's answering every question thus far. He's completed 2 full hours of depositions. I would say we are possibly at the halfway point. It could last more than 4 hours, but he confirmed there were 5 clients that paid money to Epstein, and that was Les Wexner, Glenn Dubin, Stephen Sinofsky, the Rothschilds, and Leon Black. We've already deposed Wexner, and we're going to be deposing Leon Black very soon.
As right now, in the making of this video, members of Congress are set to depose Les Wexner, who was labeled as one of the co-conspirators here after being originally redacted, right?
This is insane. So I found the Epstein email that made New Mexico reopen its investigations into Epstein's Zorro Ranch property. This is all happening in real time, by the way, and this email is clearly being taken very seriously. It was sent anonymously to an Albuquerque-based radio host named Eddie Aragon, and this was in November of 2019, so 3 months after Epstein was found. The email reads, Edward, this is sensitive, so it will be the first and last email depending on your discretion. You can choose to take it or trash it, but this comes from a person that has been there and seen it all as a former staff at the Zorro. The material below is taken from Jeffrey Epstein's home as my insurance in case of future litigation against Epstein. Sorry, no questions. What is damning about Jeffrey Epstein is yet to be written. Did you know somewhere in the hills outside the Zorro, 2 foreign girls were buried on orders of Jeffrey and Madam G? Both died by strangulation during rough reddish wrecks. Here are the video footage of Jeffrey Epstein. Under it are all of these videos that this person is claiming to have on a USB, along with what they contain and the length of each video. Then it goes on to say, please arrange for 1 Bitcoin by 6 p.m. today to the Bitcoin wallet address redacted. The USB will be sent anonymously to your attention by overnight courier upon receipt of the funds. You have my assurance this is exclusive, never shared before. No attorneys, no samples, no questions, please. Confirm ASAP. So Eddie Aragon has stated that he knows who the sender of this anonymous email is and that he relayed that information to an FBI agent. Always, I'm here to talk about the injustice involving the Epstein files, and my intention is to spread this information so that we don't get distracted. I go down rabbit holes so you don't have to. Please consider following me. These victims deserve justice, and we will see what happens in the near future as far as Zorro Ranch goes.
I believe that the American government is sort of trapped by the Israelis. Jeffrey Epstein is one of their tools to trap them.
And what do you think of Dershowitz's denial?
Hold on a second. I want to give you an example. Bill Clinton, President Bill Clinton, Ehud Barak, met Arafat in the 90s, and there was no deal. The reason was Epstein. They were being blackmailed by Epstein. Ehud Barak was also a friend of Epstein, the prime minister of Israel at the time. But he was being blackmailed by the Israeli right wing as well. And they stopped an agreement with Arafat. They were about to reach an agreement there for a two-state solution, but that was stopped because of Epstein. They were both being blackmailed by Epstein.
And so Jeffrey Epstein, in a way, presumably being used as a tool by the Israelis, helped to change the course of history in this region I'm speaking to you from.
Of course, a change thing, and they trapped a number of U.S. presidents by using Jeffrey Epstein. And it wasn't only about sex, it was also the money issue. Where was the money coming from? But everything is stuck over Gaza. And I believe the Israelis have the American government captive due to what happens with Epstein, or what happened in the past with Epstein. Rupert Murdoch, newspaper, Wall Street Journal, put out that card or something, a birthday card Trump sent to Epstein. Where do you think they got it from? And I don't think Trump wants to continue this war or the genocide. I think it's the Israelis holding him back.
Given how much maverick power he has to create peace in South North Korea, in Palestine, in all these different places, one might ask, why do they need Jeffrey Epstein? Why can't they just assassinate Donald Trump? I know there's a lot of speculation. There has been that John F. Kennedy was assassinated with Israeli intelligence help. Why do they need things like Jeffrey Epstein?
Somebody tried to assassinate him, didn't they? Before the election. It doesn't always work. I'm not sure what's going to happen because, people look at these pictures of starving children all over the world, and there's a lot of pressure on these politicians to say enough, to tell them enough is enough. I'm not sure how far this will go. And I think the Israelis are committing harakiri on themselves, or by doing this, because eventually they will be stopped.
Now that is where the GCC countries arguably can leverage financial power to replace AIPAC lobbying power, as it were. Do you believe that Trump can begin to leverage some of that Arab world, global South, BRICS world power to be able to end the genocide?
No, I believe that he can end the genocide right now if he just stops being scared of the Israelis. What are they going to say about him? How many girls did he abuse? How many billions of dollars he took? Let them say whatever they say. He should stop the genocide. Let them do whatever they want to do. Morality should take over. I encourage him to stop the genocide at any price.
Robert Maxwell was an incredibly intelligent man. He was trying to leverage things against the Israeli state, perhaps financial deals for his company. Look what happened to him. Can't the Israelis every time tell Trump, you try and mess with us? Someone as clever, and people can look up Robert Maxwell's heroic wartime record, they can still kill you.
I can't comment about that, but I hope Donald Trump will have the interest of the United States and the Middle East at heart and do the right thing.
In the age of viral receipts, even a decade-old clip can redefine a public figure overnight. Erica Kirk, the CEO of Turning Point USA and widow of conservative leader Charlie Kirk, is now facing that reality after a 2014 audition video resurfaced and spread rapidly across X and Reddit, according to multiple viral posts tracked in January 2026 by political media monitors. The footage, originally filmed for an audition tape for CBS's The Amazing Race in 2014, shows a much younger Erica Kirk alongside her then-boyfriend JT Massey, identified in the clip as a minor league baseball player, as confirmed by archived casting materials and reposted clips circulating widely on social media this week. What has ignited the firestorm is a moment now replayed millions of times online. In the clip, Massey is seen adjusting Erica's outfit and remarking that people want cleavage, to which Erica responds, "Sex sells, babe," a line verified directly from the raw audition footage shared by multiple X users with preserved timestamps. For critics, this moment clashes sharply with the image Erica Kirk presents today as a devout Christian and advocate of traditional marriage, a persona she has repeatedly emphasized in TPUSA speeches and interviews archived on the organization's official YouTube channel and website over the past 2 years. The backlash intensified as commentators began revisiting Erica's previous public statements about her personal life, where she had suggested limited romantic experience before meeting Charlie Kirk, claims now being challenged by details revealed in the audition tape itself, including references to shared travel, dates, and long-term intimacy, as documented in the same resurfaced footage. Prominent conservative voices have also joined the conversation. Conservative podcaster Candace Owens questioned inconsistencies in Erica Kirk's narrative during a recent episode of her show, a clip of which has since been shared widely across X and YouTube, adding fuel to an already raging digital debate. The timing of the controversy could hardly be worse. Since January 2026, Erica Kirk has been traveling nationwide on what TPUSA officially calls its Resilience Tour, an initiative announced on Turning Point USA's website aimed at unifying the organization following Charlie Kirk's assassination in September 2025. Yet even beyond the resurfaced video, scrutiny has followed her every move. Just days ago, Erica was criticized online for attending a high-profile football game without her children, with commentary labeling her public demeanor fake and performative, language pulled directly from trending posts on X that amassed thousands of interactions within hours. Supporters argue that a person's past should not permanently define them, especially during a period of grief. a defense echoed by several pro-TPUSA commentators and influencers responding to the backlash on YouTube and Instagram stories over the past week. But for critics, the issue goes beyond a youthful audition. They argue it strikes at credibility, questioning whether Erica Kirk's current calls for a Christian revival reflect personal transformation or strategic rebranding, a framing that has become dominant in opinion threads across Reddit's political forums and conservative discussion spaces. As Erica Kirk continues to lead one of America's most influential conservative youth organizations, the resurfaced 2014 video remains a powerful reminder that in modern politics, digital footprints don't fade, they wait, ready to resurface at the most consequential moment.
She knows that your mom really takes your cell phone.
Second phone call attempt at 4:26 p.m.
I won't have the cell phone after 4.
Hello? Hey, what's up? I talked to Jeffrey, and I'm going to his house tomorrow morning, and I'm taking my son. He's gonna set something up for you.
Well, like, what do you think?
I don't know. I'm gonna talk to him tomorrow morning when I go to his house about it.
How much? Like, would I get paid? 'Cause last time.
Talk to him. I'll talk to him tomorrow, and then I'll bring you in the next day and you can talk to him about it.
How much do you think? I don't know what I want to do, and I just want to get some ideas.
I don't know. You're gonna have to talk to him about it. I mean, I don't really work for him like that. I just bring girls to him, and they work for him. So you're gonna have to talk to him about it. That's what I'm saying. When you work for him, I'll bring you in, and you can ask him before you work. So, like, what can I do to make more money?
Yeah, well, like, what if I don't like this, would you get paid more money?
The more you do, the more you get paid. Okay, so I mean, I don't know. Talk to him about it.
Want me to bring my sister for you, so like you could get paid more or something, or how much a girl?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I'm working tomorrow, and me and him are gonna put a schedule together for you and your sister. So I'll call you tomorrow when I leave Jeffrey with the schedule.
Alright, well, okay. Alright, that's good. That sounds good. But like, I don't have a phone all the time, so if you guys called me, I'd have to know what time so I could get the phone.
Okay, well, what time? Well, why don't you? Okay, I'll leave you a message. That's fine. I'll leave you a message tomorrow. Okay. All right. Bye.
She just heard from me. She said she doesn't work here. She just.
That's fine. That's fine. You did great. Give me a high five.
Good, because she was throwing. She
threw
she's
you.
a tough girl.
Yeah, you know, but you did really good.
That freaked you out.
Because she's like, well, I'm setting up
A schedule for you and your sister.
Setting up a schedule.
With him.
These new Erica Kirk leaks are absolutely wild. Now, y'all know we've been talking about Erica Kirk for a while, ever since her really weird reaction to Charlie Kirk's tragic death. And now there's this new leak, which Project Constitution is talking about. It comes from the DOJ's very website. You can see, here's the link. I'll include it in the description. You can listen to the audio file yourself, where it sounds like Erica Kirk is working for Jeffrey Epstein, but it is just the sound of her voice that makes people think it's Erica Kirk. This account, Project Constitution, a huge fan of Charlie Kirk, thinks that this voice is absolutely Erica Kirk. Look at what he says. The smoking gun leaked DOJ wiretap audio captures Erica Kirk scheduling underage girls for Epstein. I have been sent a bombshell audio file and I have verified its authenticity. This is not a rumor. This audio captures a young girl who is clearly an informant for the DOJ on a recorded phone call with Erica Kirk. You can hear the DOJ agents coaching the girl before and after the call. This was their second attempt to get Erica to incriminate herself and Jeffrey Epstein. It continues, but I'd rather us listen to the audio together and react to it. Here is the full thing.
She knows that your mom really takes your cell phone.
Second phone call attempt at 4:26 p.m.
I won't have the cell phone after 4.
So this is the DOJ setting up a girl to talk to Erica Kirk. Or allegedly Erica Kirk. Allegedly Erica Kirk.
Hello? Hey, what's up? I talked to Jeffrey, and I'm going to his house tomorrow morning, and I'm taking my friend. He's gonna set something up for you now.
Well, like, what do you think?
I don't know. I'm gonna talk to him tomorrow morning when I go to his house about it.
How much? Like, would I get paid? 'Cause last time,
Talk to him. I'll talk to him tomorrow, and then I'll bring you in the next day and you can talk to him about it.
how much do you make? I don't know what I want to do, and I just want to get some ideas.
I don't know. You're gonna have to talk to him about it. I mean, I don't really work for him like that. I just bring girls to him, and they work for him. So you're gonna have to talk to him about it.
Let me pause you for just 1 second. So that does sound a lot like Erica Kirk, but that is the only evidence, and there's some other theories about who this person is. But it is very clear, at least from this audio clip, that this person was working to schedule girls to come and do stuff for Jeffrey Epstein or his clients, which is something, guys, I can't get over this, that the DOJ told us was not happening. They said there was no evidence that anyone other than Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein were involved in this operation. Clearly, whoever this is, and it's not Ghislaine Maxwell, was involved in this operation. Let's continue.
That's what I'm saying. When you work for him, I'll bring you in, and you can ask him before you work. So, like, what can I do to make more money? The more you do, the more you get paid.
Wow.
Okay, so I mean, I don't know. Talk to him about it.
Want me to bring my sister for you, so like you could get paid more or something, or how much
Well,
a girl?
yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I'm working tomorrow, and me and him are gonna put a schedule together for you and your sister. So I'll call you tomorrow when I leave Jeffrey with the schedule.
Alright, okay. Alright, that's good. That sounds good. But like, I don't have my phone all the time, so if you guys called me, I'd have to know what time so I could get the phone.
Okay, well, what time? Well, why don't you? Okay, I'll leave you a message. That's fine. I'll leave you a message tomorrow.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Wow. The FBI, the DOJ, setting this person up. Honestly, cool thing. Now, this is before, I guess this was during the first Trump administration when this happened.
A schedule for you and your sister
Setting up a schedule.
with him.
Wow. Absolutely incredible. So the DOJ had this information. They were sitting on this file the entire time. There was investigations that were ongoing in this wiretapped audio, this recording of their conversation. And yet, for some reason, they're publicly maintaining that nobody else was involved. Anyway, so people are alleging this was Erica Kirk. Project Constitution, that's a pretty big account. Now, of course, he's putting up this disclaimer. This post is my personal opinion and interpretation of publicly available materials because he doesn't want to get sued. But guys, this is not the only allegation that people have made that Erica Kirk was tied to Jeffrey Epstein. Candace Owens has also made a lot of accusations of her own. Like in this clip, Candace Owens alleges that Erica Kirk was taking meetings with this modeling agency who had a leader who was very closely associated with Jeffrey Epstein, leading to some suspicion that Erica Kirk was involved in Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking operation. Take a look at what she says.
Management. It was co-founded by Faith Cates. We told you this yesterday, a dear friend to Jeffrey Epstein, all over the emails, 4,000 plus times. Her offices had a ton of Eastern European models that were going through it. She's actually known for having made the careers of various Eastern European models. And like I told you guys, Jeffrey Epstein was around this office a lot. He frequented the office as you would if it was your friends. All of this is a fact. Now, another interesting fact is that Faith Cates, she actually knew Epstein since before she co-founded Next, because she was actually the vice president of the women's division over at Wilhelmina Models first. Wilhelmina Models was co-founded by Fran Rothschild, okay? Frances Rothschild is her name. Now, why is that interesting? Because you will recall in Jeffrey Epstein's recently released emails that he said to Peter Thiel that he works directly for the Rothschilds family. He's spreading around their money. I will show you that email here so that we can confirm it. It is Jeffrey to Peter. He says, as you probably know, I represent the Rothschilds. I was hoping to figure out a way for the bank that has $160 billion in management to do something in tech. Best client list in the world, prehistoric products, it can wait. Okay, just asserting that as a fact here. All right. Now, what is also a fact is that the Rothschilds credit themselves with creating the modern state of Israel. Zionism was therefore their platitude. Zionists were also the people that were squeezing Charlie Kirk at the end of his life, morally blackmailing Charlie Kirk, stressing out Charlie Kirk, pulling money away from Charlie Kirk and the organization. Charlie himself said that he was done with the pro-Israel cause. But then he was murdered. And his wife did a complete 180 like LBJ, inviting, frankly, deranged Zionists into the fold immediately. Ben Shapiro, who was, in fact, an enemy to...
I'm going to pause for just 1 second. Something that's always interesting about people like Candace Owens and like conspiratorial folks in general is like how it's just like the conspiracy is this person's related to this person who's related to this person who's related to that person. That is the extent of the evidence. So Erica Kirk allegedly had a meeting with a person who was perhaps involved in the recruitment for Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking operation. And then another person that was a Zionist was related to Jeffrey Epstein. And that person, you know, was a big Zionist, and Zionists didn't like Charlie Kirk. I mean, it's not that coherent. It's really not that coherent, but we'll continue.
To her husband, effectively opened AmFest. She came out first, and then Ben Shapiro came out second. He was also allowed onto Charlie Kirk's show and appeared in person, rather, in his studio. Very odd. I want you to park that into your mind. She never came out and said anything about Josh Hammer lying when he said that Charlie never blinked on Israel. She never said anything at all about what Charlie was going through. Never said, oh, that donor took money away from him. I'm so angry about that. Not once.
I mean, Erica Kirk has acted very strange since Charlie Kirk died. Although I don't think that her like defending his criticism or like his somewhat critical relationship with Israel, but also historically he was pro-Israel, but then he was kind of critical of Israel. I don't feel like that's the kind of thing that a widow would want to do in general. So I don't know if that's the strongest criticism.
Actually, you could argue she did the opposite. She was setting up interviews with the likes of Barry Weiss, pushing Charlie's final book, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Okay, we got it. Now, what is also a fact is that some of the employees and some of the people who were associated parties with Next Models remember Erica Francfe at the office taking meetings. Weird. Because Erica Kirk, despite her very illustrious, multi-hyphenated career, she's actually never made the claim to have worked for a modeling agency. So what was she doing? That was a question we went out to her with. What were you actually doing here, parked up at this office? What is your connection here to Next Model Agency, Next Model Management? And do you know Faith Cates? How do you know Faith Cates, Erica? Did you see Epstein walking around the office? Fair questions.
It is kind of fair. It is kind of fair that, it's sort of true that it's not like Erica Kirk has stayed away from the Israel topic. The Shabbat Shalom thing was a little bit weird. I don't know if I believe that this is a Zionist assassination attempt on Charlie Kirk, but that isn't the only allegation that Candace Owens has made that Erica Kirk was tied to Jeffrey Epstein. Here, she talks about how she was a contact for a building which was managed by owners which were tied to other owners who were tied to Epstein. It's a little bit of a nebulous connection, but we'll see if it's convincing for you.
Which makes Erica's role curious because multiple people remember and they say that Erica Francfe was the contact, specifically what they recall is she was the contact for a white building on the Upper East Side around 68th Street and 2nd and 3rd Avenue. It's pretty specific. Yeah, that she was the contact. Now, why? What? Erica's the contact. Got these girls coming in. Erica's got these people in, and we've all been trying to figure out what she's doing in real estate. But yeah, that is the memory of the people who were working with and around Next Model Management, the real estate contact. And they said, we don't really know why. They don't know why, and I don't know how. Because the issue that I'm having here is that Erica did not actually have her real estate license yet. Remember, real estate licenses are a matter of public record. So how could it be that Erica was working with one of the top modeling agencies in New York City, full stop, regarding, what would you describe it as, real estate deals, allegedly? Was she, maybe she was the property manager?
I mean, you don't have to be a real estate agent to work as a point of contact for a building or to work in, especially in property management. You don't need any sort of license for that.
I have another clue, actually, and this is a fact. Erica told people specifically during that time that she was doing real estate deals with her family. Keyword here, family. But which family? Who's the family? We can, I think, reasonably assume that she's not referring to her family back in Scottsdale. Lori doesn't do real estate. She's a tech genius, remember? A sustainability tech genius, sustainability. It's much more likely that she's in New York and she's saying this, that she's referring to the Rothstein family. Now, you will remember Erica at this time was living with Nicole Rothstein, and it is a fact that Nicole Rothstein did work in real estate, not at the Corcoran Group, but she has a long career in real estate. She went to school for real estate, and she currently runs her own real estate company. And her father, Alan Rothstein, Erica is extremely close with him. She calls him uncle. He was the chairman, might still be the chairman of Wynn Haven Real Estate. And yeah, like I said, this is what she wrote about him on Instagram in 2017. This post reads, there's something powerful about God's strategic planning when it comes to the people that he has surrounded you. How blessed am I to have individuals like you, Uncle Alan, in my life that are filled with spirit. Constantly seeing life in bloom, I have watched you face adversity and triumph, and in doing so, pass a gift of courage and a message of understanding to those around you, that if you live boldly and fearlessly, the impossible is possible. I love you. Okay. She loves her Uncle Alan. Now, I bring this up because I'm just asserting that it is very plausible that these were the people who introduced Erica to the world of real estate. I will also add here that I haven't gone down the Rothstein rabbit hole, but I do know that Rothsteins in New York, if they are at all related to Alan, to the Rothstein that was involved with fixing the White Sox game, that's a Rothschild. That's a Rothschild family member. His mother was a Rothschild. Again, I don't know if that is true, but it sure would be interesting to find that out.
Guys, I don't know. Maybe I'm not enough of a conspiracy theorist. Maybe I need to get a new tinfoil hat. But the fact that somebody said, which is not cited, that she was representing a building and she also knew the Rothsteins, which could be connected to the Rothschilds, which themselves are connected to Jeffrey Epstein, doesn't seem like the strongest piece of evidence ever. I think the first one was a little bit stronger, but people are putting all of these pieces of evidence together to allege that Erica Kirk was very clearly involved in Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking operation, including potentially Ian Carroll, which is one of Candace Owens' employees. He said, holy shit, this sure sounds like Erica scheduling girls for Epstein, and it's an FBI wiretap, so that should mean they knew. It's so on the nose, it's hard to believe. Gonna be wild to watch this play out. Now he's actually rolling it back. Look at this. Woke up to the world ending over this tweet. So here's some clarification. Read it. Did not say it was Erica or confirmed or anything. I actually explicitly said that would be hard to believe. This is hilarious. He's saying this because Candace Owens is actually not even backing the notion that this was Erica Kirk. And that's because a lot of people are debunking the notion that this was Erica Kirk, including this guy, David Kite, which is a pretty big Zionist Republican. Here's his video saying this was definitely not Erica Kirk.
As of this morning, there's a new narrative regarding Erica Kirk at 16 years old recruiting her classmates to do massages for Jeffrey Epstein. And I wouldn't be addressing this idiotic rumor and narrative if it wasn't for 10 million views on this post and people that I know actually buying into this. I'm going to quickly debunk this entire narrative in less than a minute. So this tweet by Project Constitution, which was retweeted by Ian Carroll, which is why it has 10 million views, said that there's a smoking gun. Leaked DOJ wiretap audio captures Erica Kirk scheduling underage girls for Epstein. And Ian watched this video and said, holy crap, this sounds just like Erica Kirk, so it must be Erica. This is the funniest part. If you're going to say that this is a leaked audio file, you probably shouldn't attach the official DOJ, official government website to that audio file. All it takes is just 1 minute to find out who's actually speaking on that audio file.
So I'm assuming this is listed by the DOJ?
That name is Haley Robson. Haley was 16 years old, living in Florida at the time that Epstein contacted her and forced her to start to recruit her classmates in order to come over and do,
I don't know. Okay, listen, I'm not saying he's wrong yet, but that person on the phone sounded older than 16.
What? Haley has spoken about this numerous times, whether on Capitol Hill, on CNN. And obviously when your tweet goes viral, you have to clarify that this post is my personal opinion and my interpretation. And that doesn't matter because the original narrative is already set. You have major conspiracy theorist Ian Carroll already propagating that narrative, and they're not going to stop. I know you think that this is stupid, but...
So he said it debunks, but he just shows a screenshot. He doesn't even tell us where it's from. Ian Carroll says, hey man, genuinely interested in the truth. I'll do some digging to try to source how you know it's Haley Robinson on the call. Because you actually didn't give any evidence for that. We know several girls helped recruit for Epstein. Now he provides his evidence, which is the Palm Beach Police Department, which talks about this taped interview with Haley Robinson. It's not clear that this is the exact same taped interview that we saw, but that does seem to be pretty credible evidence. And it comes from ABC News. I don't know if they were saying that this clip that we saw and this direct same case, but that does seem to be pretty strong evidence. People are also going after the guy, Colin Scott Campbell, the guy who's pushing all of this, Project Constitution. The individual libeling Erica Kirk with this post is Colin Scott Campbell of Whiteford, Maryland. He is employed by private security company Champion National Security. So this guy, big Republican, is basically saying, yo, you guys should go after this guy. Oh, I blocked him. Oops. Let's see. This is a pretty big right-wing account, and he thinks we should go after this guy. So it looks like there's a little bit of a MAGA civil war. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Tell me in the comments, do you think it's Erica Kirk? Or do you think it's actually this other person who was 16 years old at the time? Do you think what Candace Owens is saying about Jeffrey Epstein and Erica Kirk's relationship is strong evidence that there was something inappropriate there? To me, I think there's some weird stuff with Erica Kirk that's going on. I'm definitely suspicious of some stuff. I don't know if we're dealing with the strongest evidence right now, but feel free to nuke me in the comments.
Let's get back to Les Wexner here. As of course, the largest house in Ohio is owned by Les Wexner. The second largest home in Ohio was Epstein's. Why wasn't that house searched? Right? As right now, we're finding out that there actually might be an investigation into Zorro Ranch. Many years after everything happened, after they had a chance to destroy a lot of the evidence. First time Epstein was served with a search warrant, he was tipped off beforehand and deleted and destroyed a whole bunch of surveillance equipment, hard drives, computers, and then police officers here in West Palm Beach, Florida were saying, what the hell? We literally, who tipped them off that there was a raid happening? Why was there a raid? There's a 7,500 acre estate right next to the Mexican border. How convenient. Right? How convenient that is being bought off and has a lot of weird, suspicious activity with another kind of Republican involved here. Again, lots of Democrats involved here as well here. As in Texas, very interestingly, the Dallas Morning News is reporting how Jeffrey Epstein paid $28,000 to a North Dallas school. The school won't say why. Excuse me. What? The check to the Texas Torah Institute was written after Epstein pleaded guilty in 2008 and was a registered offender. Now, if you're a school, like Harvard, You know this guy's a registered offender. You don't give him offices. Epstein had his own offices at Harvard, right? And now you're giving out a check, $28,000 to the Texas Torah Institute. Who received that money? What was that money for? What did Epstein get? Or whose compliance did he get? What did he pay for from this huge transaction? As of course, this is according to the federal records. This is a Jewish school for boys. Received 2 checks in 2008 and 1 in 2009. The first 2 checks were written after lawsuits from 2 girls alleging abuse had been made public, and while Epstein was in prison after pleading guilty to solicitation. The fact that he went for solicitation is absolutely wild, as of course the prosecutors had an open, slam dunk case of him clearly being a predator here. The Dallas Morning News report spoke with a woman at the school's office last week and provided copies of the check. The news also reached out by phone and email to inquire about the payments. Representatives from the school did not respond to the request for comment. They should. This is where a federal government comes in. There's also a weird comment about Jared Leto. Epstein sent an email to who knows who. Jared Leto did very well. What about tomorrow's schedule? What? What did Jared Leto do? Jared Leto, do you care to comment here? The school, do you care to comment here? And of course, they're not, as a lot of good people that were actually speaking out and raising alarm bells here were, of course, fired. As people were told, hey, you got to cover this up. Hey, you got to hide this donation. As Epstein wasn't just buying compliance, he was buying off victims, and he was buying off weird scientific research. He was paying off gynecologists, pretty much paying their entire full salary. Why? That's a question that I think deserves to be answered here. Here is a video from a 2019 whistleblower at MIT that came forward and disclosed that she was told to hide Epstein's donations. Now, how many other organizations like MIT had other donations? And what were those donations for? What did they finance? What did they pay for? At the highest learning institutions in this country? Are you kidding me?
Working at MIT, part of my job was to research the prospects for the top-rated donors or potential donors to MIT. And I looked at Epstein's record, found his conviction, but at that time, he was not somebody MIT was supposedly actively cultivating, so I just made note of it. But then when I started conversations with the MIT Media Lab about the position that I was applying for, it was explained to me that Joey Ito and Jeffrey Epstein had an existing relationship, and that part of my job would be to help aid that relationship along. At many points, and probably nearly every time his name was brought up, I expressed my disgust and discomfort, but it was never my choice or truly anybody's choice but Joey Ito to maintain this relationship. We were expected to...
This Joey Ito should come out and be like, hey, man, what was the money for? Like, you would think if we lived in a place that actually held criminal people accountable, we would find out why. We don't.
Keep this quiet at every turn, involving as few people as possible. He was referred to by just his initials, sometimes a pseudonym, but in general, we were just supposed to avoid other people learning about this. The visit where he came to the lab, we were expected to keep off books as much as possible.
What was he doing at the lab? What projects was he financing? Because of course he was literally working on genetic superhuman type of projects, trying to spread his gene code because he thought he was superior to everyone else. Was he working on gene splicing, stem cell, life extension, AI? He was also working with the teeing of children.
Those with money and those with power apparently don't suffer consequences. That specifically in academia and nonprofits all over, people bend over backwards. They look the other way when people are saying or doing terrible things because the money's good. The money will come in.
And a lot of people sold themselves to the money. As we have Jacobin reporting today that a former Deutsche Bank compliance officer told the FBI she was fired in 2018, 10 years after he was already a registered offender, because she was flagging suspicious activity in accounts linked to Jeffrey Epstein and Jared Kushner, offering yet another example of how they operate, quote, above the law. Jacobin writes, a former Deutsche Bank compliance officer told the FBI she was fired after flagging this, Former compliance officer for the international finance powerhouse Deutsche Bank told the Federal Bureau of Investigations. Why do they keep repeating everything here? I just don't like that. The former anti-money laundering official detailed mind-boggling cryptocurrency transactions between Kushner's company and a Russian individual. She also claimed that she was punished after raising concerns about more than 100 politically connected individuals who have been shielded from typical anti-money laundering reviews. Yeah, I mean, you go to the bank, you're like, hey, I want a couple $1,000 from me. Like, what for? You got to fill out this form. We got to report it to the IRS. Epstein was able to move millions of dollars around. He was a billionaire. How is this guy a billionaire? Where did he get his money? As of course he was nickel and diming everything else. Some people are saying he might be even connected to 9/11. Now, of course, this wouldn't surprise me. As of course he was connected to Iran-Contra. He was connected to the Rockefellers. He was connected to secret societies like the Trilateral Commission, knowingly, admittedly, and bragging about it. He was like, oh yeah, I was under the wing of the Rockefellers. Oh yeah, I was representing the Rothschilds. Yeah, Rothschilds just paid him $25 million. As now people are saying, was he involved in 9/11? As Chris Martinson here points out, very coincidentally, that there are specific serial numbers of files that are missing between the year 1999 and 2001. As he says, it's just a complete coincidence that the DOJ had completely withheld all the Epstein documents immediately before, during, and after 9/11. Where are these documents? Why are they not released here? There's also an individual that was held responsible that Epstein was in communications with that destroyed previous 9/11 documents. Was that the documents that he was involved in? Was Epstein involved in 9/11 here? Listen, a lot of people will say Epstein was CIA, connected to the CIA, connected to the intel agencies, connected to the shadow secret government. He was involved in major criminal CIA conspiracies like Iran-Contra that was running drugs and arms from the Middle East to Latin America to America, to the United States of America. Okay? Those are big, huge doings. He was connected to everybody. Was he connected to 9/11? The intel agencies sure were. The CIA funded the Taliban. CIA had a code name for Osama bin Laden called Tim Osman. The CIA got involved when Michael Springmeier, someone who worked at the Jeddah consulate at the State Department, was given all these visa applications for known terrorists. And he says, I can't give visas to these known terrorists. Denied. They again put in their application. He denied. Then they put in their denied. Then Michael Springmeier came out and said, the CIA came to me and said, allow these guys in. Allow the 9/11, this is before 9/11, allow the 9/11 hijackers in. He was like, I don't want any part of this. They forced through the visas that he was denying to known terrorists that were allowed to come into America that committed 9/11. That was the CIA personal involvement there, right? We know that for a fact. I've been talking about this for a long time. Now, the hijackers were extremely suspicious. They were going to strip clubs. They were drinking. They were doing a lot of haram activity, right? Doesn't sound like devoted Muslims here, all right? Let's keep drinking. They're staying at FBI informants. Massive amounts of intelligence suggesting that there would be a huge attack. William Cooper came out, predicted 9/11, said bin Laden. Alex Jones came out, predicted 9/11 before it happened. Both of those gentlemen came out and said, yeah, it was an inside job. Overwhelming circumstantial evidence that there is proving that something's up with 9/11. Specific people got warnings. Howard Lutnick decided not to show up to work like he usually does, decided to drop off his kids first when he usually doesn't. Larry Silverstein, who had breakfast in the windows of the world with his daughter and his son every morning, just had an emergency dermatologist appointment. Interesting. That made him not show up. His daughter and his son never showed up there either. Wonder what kind of excuse they have. Mayor Willie Brown, who gave Kamala Harris her start of San Francisco, came out and said, I was called to warn not to fly. I had a flight on 9/11. Was Epstein somehow involved here? Why is the DOJ retracting these files? And now we have Dan Bongino coming out and being like, look, guys, the files are out. No, they're not. These files aren't. Pam Bondi be like, okay, we released everything. No, you didn't. Where are these files? What the hell was going on here? As a lot of people are saying, there's some weird stuff going on here, to say the least, as people are connecting the dots here, saying, this is interesting. This is wild. Was Epstein's network involved in either? Because, like, there's a lot of different theories. And again, when it comes to, like, 9/11, it's like, okay, we could believe certain things, but the onus is on the government to prove how they failed us. And we never got an official commission. They talked about putting Ghislaine Maxwell, through these emails, on the commission, a shadow commission to investigate 9/11. They tried to get Henry Kissinger, the guy who with extensive ties to Saudi Arabia, where most of these guys came from, to be a part of the 9/11 commission. And then, of course, it was a total whitewash. The commission members came out and said, yeah, it was a cover-up effort. We never got to the bottom of it. They still redacted a whole bunch of information away from the general public. And now we're kind of like left here scratching our heads, like, what the hell really happened? What was the larger involvement here? What was really going on here, as Chris Martin says, I'll bet money that there was some pre-knowledge in there. Now, again, this is the theory. Some people say they made it happen. Some people are saying they let it happen. Some people are saying that they orchestrated and engineered and did the whole thing from start to finish. Whatever you might think happened on that particular day, the least craziest aspect of this is that they let it happen. Right? And the governments have a way of using particular events for their justifications. And we saw the Project for a New American Century. We saw that being kind of built up by the neocons before they got into power. Epstein was going in and out of the Bill Clinton White House when Bill Clinton was the president of the United States, all the way up till the year 2000. And then, of course, Al Gore, who was the VP, also probably interacted with Epstein, because Epstein was in and out of Bill Clinton's White House. As Chris Martinson says, I'll bet you some money there was some pre-knowledge in there, gloating emails, something along the lines of, hey, avoid Manhattan on the 11th that day, Goy Day or something, wink. Got any more jerky? Is that what the emails showed? As, of course, Epstein had this painting that was very controversial, highlighting George W. Bush sitting at the desk with a paper airplane and 2 block towers. You can't see the block towers here, right? 2 block towers in front of him taken down, and him smiling and playing with these paper aircraft. What was really, here's a better depiction of it, as he has 2 airplanes here. Now, I think Brett Weinstein had a very interesting response to all of this. He says, what are we witnessing is the wearing off of the blue pill. The matrix is becoming visible. It will soon be common knowledge, the default assumption. Unfortunately, that alone does not destroy its control. We will have to do that. Welcome to the Nebuchadnezzar, as he came out and then released his own kind of hypotheses of what happened here. Also retweeting this, saying hypotheses. WTC-7, which collapsed in it on itself, even though it wasn't hit by an aircraft or major debris. He says, hypotheses. WTC-7 was supposed to be hit by UA Flight 93. That's the flight where they said, we took him down. Let's go. Let's roll. And allegedly, heroes on that plane took down the bad guys. The bad guys just flew the plane into the ground, and it hit nothing. Hypothesis, WTC-7 was supposed to be hit by UA Flight 93. A lot of people believe that. And its collapse was intended to destroy evidence of many elite crimes, including 9/11 itself. The destruction of Flight 93 rendered the collapse of WTC-7 the smoking gun of 9/11. Yeah, because it didn't make sense here. There was also Enron documents. The CIA, the FBI had their offices inside of WTC-7. There was emergency management services in WTC-7. And then multiple people were talking about how it just kind of collapsed and fell into itself here. Jordan Crowder came out and saying UA Flight 93 officially was supposed to crash into some random government building in DC. And again, some people were saying it was supposed to hit something. What was it supposed to hit? We still allegedly don't know. But it was taken down by brave passengers. That's one story. Some people are saying that the plane wasn't complying and therefore just needed to be shot down. A lot of people believe Flight 93 was shot down. And there is a lot of circumstantial evidence proving that 93 was shot down. Why was it shot down? Were the people deciding not to participate in this? Saying, meanwhile, back in New York, World Trade Center 7 mysteriously implodes. As if it was rigged to blow when the plane hit, but the plane didn't hit, so they just had to just bring it down to cover their tracks. This explains several discrepancies, especially with the official version of events. Of course, you look at WTC7, it's suspicious here. How is Epstein involved here? I don't know. Do we have any documents? No. Why don't we have any of the documents? Where are the files? Why hasn't Pam Bondi released them? There should be a concerted effort to get justice here. Because for a very long time, the only person that was prosecuted here was literally the Palm Beach butler that attempted to sell Epstein's black book to an undercover FBI agent. He was sent to jail and then died in jail. All right? How is that the only person that was held responsible for a very long time? Now, of course, Epstein was held somewhat accountable. I think Epstein, there's a big possibility that the guy's still out there. Ghislaine Maxwell has been upgraded and promoted after all of this. She's been rewarded through all of this and given a jail where they do yoga and play with puppies. It's not even a jail. It's like a country club. It's a country club jail. No surveillance cameras. You can do walk around, do whatever you want. How is that possible? The whole Butler story just shows you that this was a criminal conspiracy cover-up. As, of course, is the FBI covering up how the hijackers were staying with FBI informants. As, of course, a lot of people believe there were a lot of other informants involved here, as the FBI was clearly working to help aid and abet Epstein and wasn't doing anything since 1996 when children were coming to them demanding that they hold them accountable.
Names, last names, area codes, it's okay.
Who created this book?
Epstein himself.
This book was made by Epstein?
This is a video of an FBI sting operation with Jeffrey Epstein's former house manager and an undercover FBI employee from 2009. The Palm Beach house manager, Alfredo Rodriguez, believes he is selling Epstein's address book to someone representing a lawyer of Epstein's victims.
You will see a lot of important people here.
He claims that the book contains contacts of...
Why was the FBI setting up fake lawyers to represent the victims? Right? You think the FBI would be like, okay, wow, let's talk about it.
Powerful people, as well as Epstein's victims.
So those are mostly underage girls, those numbers?
They were very young.
A source familiar with the case confirmed the video shows the sting operation, which court documents show happened 2 years after the FBI demanded that Rodriguez turn over any Epstein documents. Instead, court documents say he kept the address book and tried to sell it for $50,000. In the occasionally redacted 45-minute video of the meeting.
So how can you say that the FBI didn't have the list, didn't have a list of people? They had the butler, and they threw the butler in jail, and he died in jail. Again, lots of really crazy emails saying, bury everything. Are they talking about landscaping? What were they talking about? Were they talking about maybe some of the trash? There was a big trash pile also on the island as well. Now, how do we move forward here? Virginia Giuffre's former lawyer, David Boies, came out and is talking about, hey, we need Prince Andrew to testify. He knows where some of the bodies are buried. This is what he had to say on the Piers Morgan show.
The other thing you said to me, that you felt there were between 10 and 20 men who you felt the government had enough information, evidence on, that would justify at least a serious prosecutorial investigation, and that Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, the former Prince Andrew, was one of these men and was given a pass. Is that still, again, your position?
Yes, I mean, I think I might amend it. I probably should have amended it 6 months ago, but 20 men and women.
Right.
I don't think it's just limited to men, unfortunately.
Yep, there's also some of the victims that later became the predators themselves as well.
So there were women also perpetrating crimes?
Yes. And certainly engage in activity that is worth investigating. I don't want to try to make a judgment without looking at all the evidence about whether anybody actually committed a crime. But a lot of people acted very wrongfully, improperly, and there's enough evidence of criminality to warrant an investigation.
Should Andrew Mountbatten Windsor now come to the United States and face the music under oath in front of Congress, in your opinion?
Absolutely. I think he's got an obligation to tell what he knows. Now, I also think that if he's afraid of being arrested in the United States, we ought to give him safe passage to come to the United States to testify. Because I think we don't want there to be any excuse for him not coming and telling what he knows. But he knows a lot. How much, I don't know myself, because they gave up in the litigation we had against them just before his deposition was supposed to be taken. So I don't think anybody knows how much he knows, but we know he knows a lot from his contact. And whatever he knows, even if it was a little bit, I think he has an obligation to share that.
Do you believe that Andrew Mountbatten Windsor committed crimes? I mean, obviously, you represented Virginia Giuffre. She made very serious allegations of criminal behavior by him against her. Do you believe that he committed crimes?
I think that it certainly is something that justifies an investigation. What
the British police announced, "We're not investigating. Goodbye." It's like, oh, those grooming gangs, we're not investigating. It's like, you don't care about the children? Huh? Now, Sean Ryan had some very pointed criticisms of everything going on right now. And I think Sean Ryan has been one of the more kind of outspoken people here. Right on for him for speaking out the way that he has.
Obama goes on some random podcast that nobody's ever heard of and just happens to drop, "Oh, aliens are real." Yeah, tell me that shit's not fucking orchestrated. Right in the middle of the biggest pedophile ring exposed in the fucking world. All of a sudden, we're gonna drop that aliens are real. Fuck you, motherfucker. Fuck you. Fucking aliens. Fuck off.
Pardon the French. I apologize. I don't usually like to curse here, as a lot of people are seeing what we're experiencing as a huge obfuscation efforts. Obviously, we're also very close. A lot of reports are coming in that we're going to be bombing Iran soon. I hope not. Or just threatening or positioning ourselves to do that. As right now, listen. We've got to stay focused. We got to stop being emotional. We got to stop picking and choosing what we talk about. We got to talk about the full truth and nothing but the truth. And we need these 9/11 documents out. Clearly, the intel agencies are implicated here in some way. And how are they implicated? Where are the CIA files? As Roger Stone came out and revealed that he spoke with lawyers who witnessed Alex Acosta claim that Jeffrey Epstein belonged to Intel in his famous plea deal. Now, this has been an issue of contention. Some people are saying it never happened. No way. Alex never said that. Some people are saying it did happen. Here's what Roger Stone, who has the receipts, who has a lot of important connections, this is what he had to say.
You know, since you do know Palm Beach culture so well and you are familiar with that ecosystem, I just wanted to get your answer on this because I was shocked when Chairman Comer had Alex Acosta in, and he said that actually he wasn't asked in his deposition about this famous line, Jeffrey Epstein belongs to Intel, lay off him. This is something that's been enraging to me, and of course it colors the Bush administration, who was in power at the time here. It was Robert Mueller who was in charge of the FBI, and this was the year 2006 to 2008 when Jeffrey Epstein was being charged with this stuff in Florida, these heinous crimes.
Let's be very, very clear. A lawyer I know, a lawyer whose name you would recognize, a lawyer who is a member of the Federalist Society, was involved in the efforts to prepare Alex Acosta for his hearing. And when it
was probably his confirmation hearing when he was appointed to be a part of Donald Trump's first administration.
Their preparations, he was asked, what are you going to say if they ask you why you disposed of the Epstein case as you did? And that is when he said, in front of a witness, I believe, I guess I'll just tell him the truth. He was from the agency. I was contacted by the agency and told to seal it, which is what he did. He sealed it and covered it up. So look, it's absolutely clear that Clinton is on the island, contrary to what he's ever said, according to the sworn testimony of Virginia Roberts Jeffrey and 2 other women who refused to settle with Epstein and went forward with extensive depositions. The FAA records that were published in my book in 2015, The Clintons' War on Women, demonstrate that Bill was clearly on the island. So,
yep, and there's victims that literally came out. It was like, oh, Epstein was there. And then Clinton's like, through a representative, he wasn't there. Was he? Wasn't he? Can we get to the bottom of this? The Clintons are going to be testifying at the end of this month, allegedly, unless they pull it back. Hillary Clinton's out there spreading lies. The first video I did today was about the Clinton lies, and we went point by point about how they're not telling you the truth.
Yet another lie has been exposed.
So, okay, so you're saying that based on direct evidence of somebody who's involved, that the agency, meaning the CIA, directly contacted Alex Acosta and said Epstein belongs to us. And that seems to match. I mean, we've been able to pull records like this one. Here's one from the Evening Post.
But what's amazing is that no one asked him about that under oath when he was there recently.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that insane?
Makes no sense.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody has heard this story. I suspect that the lawyer in question, who's very well known, Benny, has told numerous people what he heard. So I think it's abundantly clear. When Steve Hoffenberg, who, when I wrote my book on the Clintons, there's the longest chapter in the book is about Jeffrey Epstein and their connection to them. Steve Hoffenberg, who went to prison in, I think, the largest Ponzi in history, but who was a source for my book because he had trained Epstein and he knew him intimately, insisted that Epstein worked for Israeli intelligence. He didn't offer proof of that, but everything else he told me for my book about Epstein and the Clintons turned out to be accurate.
It makes sense, especially when you add all the security deals, the conversations with Ehud Barak, Peter Thiel, about overthrowing Bashar al-Assad in Syria, which eventually happened, which was totally another CIA hit job. Security contracts, working on creating private security companies involving Ehud Barak. All of this just is top-level type of conspiracies that clearly do implicate the intel agencies here that none of these emails highlight a working relationship with here.
So Epstein worked for Israeli intelligence and probably had a through line to the CIA, and they were working together. Is that what you believe?
I suspect, just based on the...
And if he was, I wouldn't be surprised if they pulled off 9/11 together. That's a theory. We don't have proof of that. We don't have the documents. Because we don't, I think it's logical to conclude, yeah, something's up. Something is absolutely up.
The research that I've done and everything I've read, that he was kind of he was like a gun for hire, a blackmailer for hire, a doer of dirty deeds for hire. Some evidence that he was involved in arms dealing with Khashoggi back in the Middle East. There's some evidence that he worked for the Saudis. There's some evidence that he has probably worked for our...
The Saudis were, mainly the biggest exporter of Sunni Wahhabism. There's a big Al-Qaeda problem with Saudi Arabia many, many years ago. And obviously, most of the hijackers came from Saudi Arabia. Did Epstein arrange all that?
Agencies. Yes, I think he was a gun for hire, and he dealt in dirty deeds.
And I would say the dirtiest deed that has been committed against the American people was, of course, 9/11. Now, what really happened? Who was really responsible? I do not know. All I know is the official version of events surrounding 9/11 doesn't add up, doesn't make sense. We were lied to. It was a cover-up. The people investigating it said it was a cover-up. We still haven't gotten the truth. Lots of documents were deleted. Lots of documents were destroyed. Where are these documents? Were they deleted? Destroyed? Who deleted them? Who destroyed them? Why are we not getting any of these important questions answered? And this is where we need to focus. We need to stop infighting. I know Ian Carroll's fighting Alex Jones. Like, okay, we don't need that. I know Alex Jones made a mistake. It's all right. It's fine. He later clarified everything that was going on here. Let's stop making ourselves the enemy. Let's hyper-focus on a concerted peaceful effort, respectful effort, right? You don't want to be emotional, even though there's a lot of emotions here, even though this is pretty big stuff. You want to make sure that the message is clear. Please just do your job as the DOJ. Please release these files. Where are these files? Please let us know. If you agree with that messaging, get this video out there. I think this is more important than ever. I still never got into the Steve Bannon, Roger Stone drama. I'm going to do a future video about that as well as everything else. I'm going to be here for you guys, signing up to LukeUnfiltered.com. Our work with 9/11 has been incredibly important. You appreciate our 21 years of doing this. Subscribe, click the notification button, as of course it's all coming out. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more. All exclusively here on youtube.com/wearechange.
First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
I seen something really messed up in the Jeffrey Epstein files. They found a file talking about them cloning celebrities so that they can do things to the version of that celebrity that they wanted.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so they were investing billions into cloning and trying to clone celebrities, specifically Britney Spears at the time, so that they could do things to a version of that clone. In the files, it stated that this clone might be like years old today if the clone is still alive.
Holy
and
smokes.
it's pretty much like Britney Spears' clone.
Yeah.
I'm sure in their head they think like cloning it, okay, boom, expendable.
And where do the bodies go after? Do you see that too with the trapdoor into the
Yeah,
ocean?
literally in that one picture, it shows in the bottom floor, it goes straight to the depth of the ocean.
Epstein shapeshifted in front of me. It's very hard to understand if you haven't seen it. But I saw it. I want to be lie detected on this. But I've never seen anyone else turn into anything like that. And it happened. It was like a weird hologram and it had like big black eyes. If you look back through ancient history, you'll notice there are a lot of dragons. They only used to draw and depict what was real. Also, there's this article joking about Bush, Clinton, and the Queen all being reptiles. Why do Hillary Clinton and Prince Andrew apparently not sweat? What about Bieber, Adele, and Lady Gaga apparently all shapeshifting? I painted Epstein as a reptile in 2019, and Maria Farmer, another victim, painted him as a reptile in 2020. Others have had similar experiences. What about The Simpsons prediction? Wasn't The Simpsons man on Epstein's airplane?
America, take a good look at your beloved candidates. They're nothing but hideous space reptiles.
As Tucker Carlson recently said, maybe we really are in a spiritual war.
That we are being acted on by spiritual forces that we cannot see, that there is a war going on all around us, out of our sight, not perceived by our senses most of the time, between good and evil.
Yeah. Yo, it's been 8 days since I've been to the island, and I'm pretty sure my phone is tapped and someone is listening to me. I posted a video explaining on my Instagram, so I'm just going to play that for you guys real quick. You guys let me know. I don't know if I'm tripping. You guys know how I went to Epstein's Island, and I posted a little trailer short about it, about posting the full YouTube video. And before anything, I swear to God, I'm not farming. I'm not trying to get engagement. I'm not trying to like hype this up. You guys know me. I don't lie about anything. I don't fabricate anything. I was trying to record a voiceover on my phone for the video, right? Some extra touches, whatever. All of my search history has been only about the island, about everything, about CIA, whatever, for this video. But when I tried to record a voice memo, it said that you had to end the call first. I wasn't on any call. So I went up to my friend's room and I recorded it off his phone just to show y'all. And look, you can see there's no phone call. I went through the apps to show y'all everything, and it still said you had to end the call. Mind you, I didn't say anything out loud to him at all. I was just mouthing everything like, yo, to your phone. Like, then after I got my video, I didn't care anymore to say anything. So I said, yo, I think someone's listening to my phone. I don't know if I'm tripping. And then like 30 seconds after I said that, and I went to go try again. What the fuck? And now it works. Look, I'm not farming. On God, I'm not farming this.
It's gonna sound like he's trolling.
On my life, I'm not farming this.
He said, I think someone's listening to me, and showed me his search history and stuff, and then clicked record again, and it worked.
Bro, wallah. Like someone ended a call. Yo, bro, I don't know what to, I'm dead ass. I don't know what to do. I hope you guys know, like, this is serious me. Yo, I'm not kidding. Keep in mind, it's 4 a.m. and I've been down here by myself the whole time, not saying a word. I've just been editing.
So all those doubting my NFT, you're looking at the guy. That's the reason that college athletes and high school athletes are getting paid today. Mr. Influencer to influencers. Secondly, Jimmy Kimmel, viral this. I fight to eradicate childhood malnutrition from the planet. And until they release the flight logs, you, the mainstream media, Hollywood, are all pedophiles to me. Eat dick.
AmICanceledYet.com. Okay, we need to put the files back in the front and center.
Yeah.
They're horrifying.
They're eating. There was something about Whoopi.
I don't know if it's true or not.
Yeah.
We're changing regimes. That's important.
Yeah.
But we're not going to arrest anyone that are, that's
insanity.
Plain as day. Raped, clearly tortured, breaking the law. Kidnapped, breaking law. No arrest there. But hey, let's start bombing everyone. This could bring down the entire establishment. What you're not thinking about is, let's say Whoopi Goldberg did something. Will Smith. If Will Smith was caught doing the most horrendous acts, do you ever play his movies anymore? Now the movie studios crumble.
Yeah.
Now the investors of the movie studios crumble. If Trump is found on there, along with many other big government people that are in there now, they all get, what happens? They all get replaced. Their investors are all looked at. If LeBron James at P. Diddy's party along with everyone else, and Jay-Z, these things that are all in the Epstein files, horrifying. Like, if you couldn't watch this if this was in a movie.
Yeah.
The things that are being described. That takes down an entire music industry. That takes down entire governments. This takes down corporations. This takes down everything that rules our lives, which makes me wonder about this whole war. Are they all just, oh my God, what do we do? Because you don't see anybody, you don't see actors coming out talking about the war. You know, nobody's coming out saying, hey, what's going on here?
I mean, there was I saw that one clip of Eddie Bravo, who's
Eddie Bravo put it perfectly, in my opinion.
Do you know the clip I'm talking about?
I know clip it. He was on Rogan.
Yeah.
And he said the Epstein files.
Yeah.
Eddie Bravo cleared all up to me. He goes, it is so big, so wide, so powerful, based out of an Israeli Mossad agent.
Yeah.
With that much control of the universe that we know of. That much control. Eddie Bravo was like, if the world finds out, all the guilty is just like, let's just throw out the aliens. Let's just start bombing. Let's just go for it. We always said we want to take over the Middle East. Let's just start doing it. Let's screw it.
Yeah.
Let's blow it's game time.
He said they would rather go to they'd rather start World War III than.
Yes, they'd rather start World War III than to deal with this. And we're the ones stuck in it.
Yeah.
We're the innocent ones stuck in it all.
CBS News has uncovered new evidence that appears to contradict the official account of what happened in Jeffrey Epstein's jail the night he died. We've studied surveillance video showing a glimpse of what may be a person in orange near Epstein's cell. FBI and Justice Department logs refer to it. Authorities have insisted no one entered Epstein's cell tier at night before he died. Scott McFarlane has covered this case for many years. Scott, good morning. What are we learning?
Hey, Vlad, good morning. More than 6 years after the death of Jeffrey Epstein in a federal prison, the mystery over how he died remains very much alive. A new analysis of surveillance video by CBS News shows a partial view of what may be someone possibly headed up to Epstein's cell tier the night he died.
Notorious sex offender Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in his cell in the early morning of August 10, 2019, inside this since-shuttered federal prison in Manhattan. And this was the vow of then Attorney General Bill Barr.
We will get to the bottom of what happened, and there will be accountability.
Epstein's death was quickly ruled a suicide, but a technical failure that left only one working camera near his cell that night has created conspiracy theories about what happened leading up to his death. At the time, the Attorney General said no one entered Epstein's housing tier the night of his death. But there's been scrutiny of a particular moment on the cell block surveillance footage where an orange-looking flash could be seen at 10:39 p.m. A report from the Justice Department Inspector General notes the flash, quote, "It is possible someone is carrying inmate linen or bedding up the stairs." And the final report refers to it as, quote, "an unidentified corrections officer." But now, newly released Justice Department documents reveal an initial FBI review of surveillance video on the cell block says the flash could possibly be an inmate. And independent video analysts consulted by CBS News say the movement was more consistent with an inmate, or someone wearing an orange prison uniform, than a corrections officer. And prison employees tell CBS News it would have been highly unusual to move an inmate at 10:39 p.m. Jeffrey Epstein was found dead at 6:30 a.m. the following morning. And last year, then Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino insisted,
"There's video clear as day. He's the only person in there and the only person coming out. You can see it."
A separate CBS News investigation last year also cast doubt on how the prison preserved the crime scene and why Jeffrey Epstein's body and some object were moved before the FBI arrived. This does not change the assessment Epstein died by suicide, but these new details raise further questions about the thoroughness, Vlad, of that original investigation.
Yeah, a lot of questions. Scott, thank you very much.
This just in, Jeffrey Epstein decides to join TikTok. It's a verified account. What a strange time we are living in. Oh, well, let's not forget the irony here that I am a legitimate artist and I can't even get verified, but a dead guy can. Don't believe me? See for yourself. And just for the record, today is Saturday, March the 14th, and it is 11 a.m. Ohio time. The account is less than 24 hours old, and it already has 725,000 followers and 2.6 million likes. Humans are weird. And the account follows two people. That's not suspicious at all. So what do you think? Is it satire? Is it a joke? And if it is, how did they get verified?
Epstein is alive. Epstein is alive.
Remember him? Jeffrey Epstein. Still did not kill himself. He is still alive. My strong suspicion is, yes, just that he is alive and well somewhere, that his death was faked. Try looking for the pictures of his body, all right? They actually are findable on the internet. Once you find them, this is not the picture. You'll see somebody who is not dead. Jeffrey Epstein, quick review, 2008, convicted of all kinds of sex crimes, procuring erotic massages from children. Very, very serious stuff. Epstein was a high school teacher at a prestigious prep school here in New York City. It's called the Dalton School. And this is all the way back in the 1970s. He was a math and science teacher at the Dalton School, okay? Epstein did not have a college degree. Generally speaking, you need those to, be a teacher, to get a teaching certificate. And here's where it gets really weird. The man who hired him at the Dalton School, his name is Donald Barr. He is the late father of William Barr, the Attorney General. Yes, that guy. Isn't that crazy? I'm not implying there's anything. No, I'm not implying anything. I'm just pointing out that is totally, totally weird, and that all of these ultra important people gravitated around Jeffrey Epstein, Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton, and now this CIA director. That's really crazy.
So there's been a shocking development in the Jeffrey Epstein saga, and it's almost conclusive proof. It's as close to conclusive proof, I guess, as we can ever get that he's not dead. Jeffrey Epstein had his prostate removed. And how do we know? Because it's in the Epstein files. Here it is. You have high testosterone and still have a need for Viagra because you don't have a prostate, right? Jeffrey Epstein. Correct. So he didn't have a prostate. Here's another one. A patient, Epstein, Jeffrey. This is from LabCorp. This is in the files. It says after radical prostatectomy. So he had a radical prostatectomy. This is from the autopsy of Jeffrey Epstein. His bladder had 5 milliliters of cloudy yellow urine. The prostate is slightly and diffusely enlarged with marked enlargement of the vermilabitanum. The testes are unremarkable. Boy, you don't want to hear that about your testes, do you? Grok, is it possible to grow a replacement prostate? Grok says no. It's currently not possible to grow a full replacement prostate gland for clinical use in humans. While research has made impressive progress in understanding prostate regeneration and creating lab-grown models, no technology exists today to produce a transplantable, fully functional human prostate replacement suitable for implantation. So no. If Jeffrey Epstein autopsy notes the health of his prostate, but it's known that he had previously had it removed, then he either miraculously grew a new one or that wasn't his body. There's really no other conclusions to be had. I agree with you, Awakened Outlaw. I agree with you. He didn't have a prostate, and the body that went through the autopsy did have a prostate, conclusively proving that that is not Jeffrey Epstein's body that they showed us. Jeffrey Epstein is 100% still alive. I'm going to go with 100%.
They're drinking blood and eating human flesh, which causes mad houses, you don't know. Which causes mad houses, you don't know that. We're all the same. Our leadership is compromised. The human species are retarded by now, because they're drinking blood and eating human flesh, which causes mad houses, you don't know. Which causes mad houses, you don't know that. We're all the same. Our leadership is compromised. They engage in child abuse, sex business, drugs. They're all completely insane, traumatized beyond the point of fucking return to a normal existence. They're all insane. Our leadership is compromised. We have to do something about it. We gotta get those people out of power, get those real out of there. Some type of test that can determine if the person is being holy or not. This is the full game plan. Our leadership is compromised.